Infowars.com is tomorrow's news today. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is The Alex Jones Show. Alex Jones will be joining us here in just a moment. It is Thursday, June 14th, 2018. It is President Trump's birthday, and it is the 34-hour broadcast spectacular here at Infowars.com/show. We are expecting the release of the IG report shortly as well. But before we get to that, in case you didn't think that the Democrats had lost their mind, here's a little more evidence for you.
In just a few years, he'll be in school, and Donald Trump wants to give his teacher a gun?
More students have been killed in school shootings in 2018 than U.S. troops in combat operations. We need common sense gun control, but that's not enough. There are 310 million guns in the U.S. and millions of assault-style weapons.
I'm Levi Tilleman. Washington needs more doers and innovators. That's why I'm running for U.S. Congress. I'm calling on Congress to stop talking past each other and try something new. Empower schools and teachers.
Okay. So far, not too bad.
Self-defense tools like this can of pepper spray.
Wait,
pepper
what?
spray doesn't cost much, and it can be safely stored in a break glass in case of emergency cabinet. But it's powerful and won't accidentally kill a kid. Trust me, this will stop anyone in their tracks.
Go back to the guy. You cut away from the best part.
It's incredibly painful.
So
And
there
now
he
I
is.
just can't see anything.
A Democrat candidate sprays himself. This is in Colorado.
Wow.
Can we rewind it to when he has it all over his face? This is so absurd, I can't even imagine whose idea this was. Roger Stone, you have been in politics for a long, long time. Have you ever seen a more ridiculous campaign ad?
Well, the only thing worse than being wrong in politics is being boring, and this is most certainly not boring. It's so
I'll give him
ridiculous.
that.
It's so ridiculous that it will get media coverage. It'll get him earned media coverage. It's the same take their guns underlying theme all Democrats are running against. But this is an underfunded guy trying to get on television. That's how I read it.
So, but I kind of think you might actually think this is brilliant. You think this might actually get him the right kind of publicity he's looking for.
Well, I don't think the idea of pepper spray is a great idea.
Oh, okay.
What I'm talking about is the theatrics of spraying yourself in the face to make sure that the local news in that market picks up his spot, or that maybe Infowars would even show it.
Hey, you know what? I think it's funny that they don't want you to have the right to protect yourself. I think it's funny that they demonize the fact that this country has guns to protect itself in a Second Amendment. That's what's kept it free. But then I just think it's crazy that a guy would pepper spray himself in the face for a campaign ad. But I guess it was effective. He gets the views he wants. We'll see if it works out for him. But I just think this is more evidence of the Democrats just totally losing their minds, and they just don't know what to do anymore.
Well, let's check tomorrow and see on YouTube how many views he's got. I think that'll tell you the reason he did this.
But I don't know. I feel like maybe he's just in it for YouTube views. But if you're in it to win an election, I don't know if this is the way to go. I guess this is the new thing. Can you torture yourself into a congressional seat?
I don't know what the registration looks like. I don't in the district that he's running in. It's a publicity stunt, and maybe it will appeal to leftists. I think he gets a lot of views out of it. I'm not sure he gets a lot of votes out of it.
All right, well, we start the show a little lighthearted today, but we do have a lot of important news to cover. You've got a new New York Attorney General who is trying to shut down the Trump Foundation. This is Barbara Underwood. Underwood, that's from House of Cards. This is the replacement, Eric Schneiderman. It is now Barbara Schneider-Woman. But you notice how after Schneiderman was out, Weinstein fell and a lot of other pieces fell in New York. I wonder if Schneiderman had anything to do with that. We'll be right back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's Thursday, June 14th, 2018. This is the Alex Jones Show. Owen Schroyer, Roger Stone in studio. Alex will be in studio very shortly. we've got Scott Adams lined up. He is going to be joining us. Shiva Ayyadurai has breaking news at 1 o'clock Central, and then Doug Hagman takes over the 4th hour. I'm sure he's got his feelers out there as far as the IG report is concerned about what to expect coming out of that. Of course, Roger, we were talking about before the show today, what we expect to see from the IG report is going to be more of what we already know, and that's that the Hillary Clinton email investigation was rigged, was cooked, and James Comey was the one behind it. But maybe not do we find out if anybody else from the Obama administration is behind that. But on the heels of this release, is that what you're expecting? Is that what you think we already know, though, is going to come out?
We know that James Comey wrote his report 2 months before he completed the investigation. So this was cooked from the beginning. We know that he reopened the investigation into Hillary's emails only because he knew the New York Police Department had just uncovered 650,000 emails on Huma Abedin, Hillary's right-hand woman, on her server, and therefore if he didn't act, the New York Police Department would, so he kind of had no choice. But this is not going to speak to some of the larger questions. For example, the illegal and unconstitutional use of FISA warrants, the infiltration of the Trump campaign with FBI spies. It just shows you how much the scandal has moved on from the original questions. This Inspector General has a lot on his plate that he has to look into. Plus, remember, we still have that U.S. attorney in Utah, Huber, who's supposed to be looking into the FISA abuses. And we have no report yet from him.
Well, and right now, the Department of Justice is, and I guess the FISA courts are not releasing those documents as far as the FISA warrants were concerned. And as far as the FBI spies were concerned, or when that started, they're not releasing those to Devin Nunes. He's made dozens of requests. They're not releasing those to the intelligence committees in the House or the Senate, even though they've made requests. So right now, they're getting denied access to those documents, which would push that investigation further as to the origins of the spies in the Trump campaign and the FISA warrants. But to come back to the IG report, I guess the one thing I'm hoping could come from this, and I don't think maybe we learn something new from it, maybe we don't. However, if it becomes undeniable fact and we have a Justice Department that's willing to act, do you believe that they would have a new investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails and the server and perhaps even prosecute her?
I think it's going to depend on what else is there that we don't know. You notice that Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, kind of laid the predicate by saying, now, if we find that other people did things wrong, we're going to have no problem firing them. Seems to me like he knows something. So until we see what we have, I don't think we can tell what the political impact of it will be. At the end of the day, I still think it is the larger questions that Nunes is trying to get into that are more important. And liberals keep telling us, oh, there's going to be a constitutional crisis. Well, they're right. That's it right there. When a co-equal branch of government is being denied information by a politicized Justice Department, there's your constitutional crisis.
Here's a constitutional crisis when you have, I'm sorry, I just got distracted of Eric Cartman, but I guess Jeff Sessions on the screen there. Sorry about that. Here's a constitutional crisis to me, Roger. The DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA are not in the Constitution, and they're running this country under Obama. They're spying on people illegally under Obama, and years before that too, but we just have this case and we have the facts on it now. So that's a constitutional crisis to me, but they don't want to talk about that. Meanwhile, though, we move over to another track here. You've got Robert Mueller. You've got Robert Mueller, who indicts the Russians. They show up to court. He refuses discovery. He refuses to show up in court. Then he says, well, I can't show up yet because I'm still building a case against them. They're still meddling. Well, that doesn't make sense. Anyone would tell you, you don't indict someone till you have all the evidence. So why would he be still gathering evidence after the indictment? Then you have the Cohen story, Roger, which I don't understand. Why would Michael Cohen, who they're saying is going to flip, that's the new narrative, Cohen's going to flip on Trump, well, then why would he be looking for legal counsel? That doesn't make sense. You wouldn't be looking for legal counsel if you were going to flip.
Let's take these one at a time. On the question of Cohen, this is a media fable that he's going to flip. That's like a prognostication. He has said nothing of the kind. I saw Mayor Giuliani on with Laura Ingraham, an excellent interview in which he said, look, there's nothing that Michael Cohen could say that the president fears. We don't think he is, that he has animosity towards the president. So this is, again, the media jumping way ahead.
And now what about Mueller? Why isn't Mueller showing up in court? And why is there no outrage that Mueller is obstructing justice?
It's really extraordinary. He clearly never expected the Russians to show up for trial.
None of us did.
Right. So
the Russians are beating everyone right now.
So he charged the Russians to get a headline because he had no Russian interference in the election to point to. It was hurting his public relations image. Now, it is a fundamental bedrock principle of American jurisprudence that people who are charged be allowed to see the evidence against them. And he doesn't want to produce it. Perhaps that's because he doesn't have it. And as you point out, if the investigation is ongoing, then why did he already bring the indictments? No, I think that this is why a new poll 2 days ago shows that his disapproval has now hit 53. It was 26 a year ago. I think people are fed up with the political partisan nature of this investigation and the fact that he just keeps dragging it out without any evidence of Russian collusion.
And it's costing us millions of dollars now, which, by the way, the White House has just extended $6.6 million back to the white helmets in Syria. That got announced today as well. This is something I don't support. So we report the things that happen here at Infowars, whether we like them or not. But I don't know, guys, if you want to find that story, I forgot to print that out. Just real quick, in some other news, the new AG in New York, Underwood, is trying to shut down the Trump Foundation. They've become totally unhinged. If you threaten to kill Senator Sanders or Senator Harris, the Democrats, then you get charged. But if you threaten to kill Trump or Ajit Pai or Mike Pence or anybody, like that, Dinesh D'Souza, that's okay. Kim Kardashian West pushes for White House more drug sentence commutations. Well, maybe that would work if Obama wasn't blackballing in negotiations and conversations and talks between other people that want prison reform and President Trump. That's Obama behind that. But in the meantime, before we get to the next segment, before Alex Jones joins us, ladies and gentlemen, we have huge specials happening right now. Part of the Fall of the Deep State 34-hour special at InfoWarsStore.com. Free shipping store-wide. That's extended for this week special, this 34-hour special. And you have 50% off some of the top-selling products, such as Brain Force Plus is 50% off right now. This is a top-selling product at InfoWarsStore.com. The Real Red Pill Plus, 50% off. Silver Bullet is 50% off. Alpha Power is 50% off. Super Male and Super Female Vitality are both 50% off. DNA Force Plus, 50% off. The list goes on and on and on. But if you're looking for huge savings, even thousands of dollars worth of savings, InfoWars Life Select 1 year, 6 month, and 3 month emergency food supply is 50% off right now at InfoWarsStore.com, plus free shipping. Plus free shipping. You're talking about thousands of dollars in savings if you're trying to get emergency food for your family. 50% off free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com. And I have to commend Roger Stone, whose new book, Stone's Rules, is also at InfoWarsStore.com. A great Father's Day gift, which is right around the corner, Roger.
And I mailed your father his just the other day.
And I know that he is looking forward to that delivery. So we will be back on the other side. News clips, more news, and Alex Jones joining us shortly. Owen Schroyer, Roger Stone in studio. Don't go anywhere. All right, we've got a lot to talk about here. Alex Jones is going to be joining us here shortly. Roger and I were speaking during the break. You've got this new attorney general in New York. She's trying to shut down the Trump administration, Barbara Underwood. Imagine my shock, Roger. Not only is this a woman that worked for Bill Clinton and George Bush, but she's a graduate of Harvard Law, just
How
like
surprising.
the rest of them. I know. Imagine my shock.
Well, we recognize that this woman was selected by the legislature for an appointment that nobody wanted because everyone understood that the imprimatur of being an elected state official in New York State would be poison if you wanted to run for this office. This investigation into the Trump Foundation was cooked up under Eric Schneiderman, who was trying to use his attacks on Trump to build the basis for a gubernatorial campaign of his own. And how ironic that she announces this at the exact same time that the Inspector General's report is being released. How coincidental. This is just pure raw politics.
Well, and it's just amazing to me that the Trump Foundation now is the target of an investigation, but the Clinton Foundation, which has been operating for decades, who knows where these funds are going? I mean, who knows what happens to all that money for the Haitians? We do know where Chelsea Clinton Hubble got her wedding dress, thanks to your donations. But no investigation into that, Roger.
Well, in fact, Haitian American groups have repeatedly asked the New York Attorney General to look into the activities of the Clinton Foundation in Haiti, and they have refused because it's not politically correct. But if you can bash Donald Trump and his children and his family, even though his foundation gave out essentially more money than they took in, with the president himself subsidizing it, no, that's politically, perfect.
Well, they were so broke, though, Roger. I mean, they both said it. They were broke when they left the White House. In fact, they were so broke that they had to steal the silverware and the furniture right from the White House ground.
And were forced to return it, all of which you can read, of course, about in the Clintons' war on women. It's amazing to me the way the Clintons want to relitigate everything from the beginning. Monica, that's about infidelity and indiscretion. No, it isn't. The issue here is rape. Violence against women. It's outrageous that Juanita Broderick's book suddenly disappears from Kindle, can no longer be purchased.
Wow.
The cover-up just continues here. And they want to keep redefining this again and again as if the American people didn't figure it out in the last election.
Well, I think we're breaking their backs now because we just did the protest of Bill Clinton here where we had dozens of people outside protesting. We had 5 infiltrators that got into the event that shouted down Bill Clinton. You had another gentleman do it in Philadelphia. I think Clinton's last book tour date is actually today. I'm not sure where he is. But I think that he's really starting to break. Listen to this clip, Roger. This is pretty incredible that Bill Clinton would admit this. Again, I think it's just a sign that he really is breaking down. Listen to what Bill Clinton says on the PBS NewsHour.
I think the norms have really changed in terms of what you can do to somebody against their will, how much you can crowd their space, make them miserable at work. You don't have to physically assault somebody to make them, uncomfortable at work or at home or in their just walking around.
What is that?
That's incredible. So in other words, it used to be okay to assault women, but today it's not? Is that what he's saying? Look, this is a guy who bit through the upper lip of his victims. This is a guy who forced himself, exposed himself, and raped multiple women. And he keeps trying to redefine it for us. Like, just because they were able to contain it in the 80s, it cannot be contained anymore. And no, attitudes have not changed. Rape was wrong then. Rape is wrong now.
It's incredible that Hollywood and the Democrats, and, you look at the Democrats and you can really just point out Bill Clinton. I mean, because they protected him for so long. The list can go on. There's Republicans on that too. But the Democrats are the ones that virtue signal for women. Hollywood is the group that virtue signals for women. All the Me Too originates in Hollywood and at Bill Clinton's Oval Office, Roger. I mean, how do these people get away with it? And then they actually get people to go pay hundreds of dollars to see Bill Clinton speak.
What's the amazing thing is that Democrats must cringe every time they see one of the Clintons approach a TV camera. They just wish they would ride off into the sunset with their stolen money. But obviously it's not enough. I mean, Bill is estimated to be worth somewhere around $300 million. His son, Danny Williams, works in a meatpacking plant by day and at a 7-Eleven at night to make ends meet for his 5 children, while his father is worth $300 million.
That we know of.
These people have no shame.
Well, and Danny Williams is actually going to be joining me on the War Room, and you later on the War Room as well, 3 to 6 p.m. Central here, and we're going to celebrate Father's Day. We're going to see if Bill Clinton is ready to celebrate Father's Day with his son, Danny Williams. Really, Bill Clinton's only offspring that we know of. I mean, Chelsea Hubble, that doesn't really count. So
I really think if nothing else, Bill Clinton may have learned this week that it's time for him to come off the circuit. I suspect he wakes up every morning and wonders, gee, I wonder where Laura Loomer is today. I don't think he can pull this off anymore. It's just not working. And his weak denials, defenses are pathetic.
Well, he did have to cancel at least one of his book tour events. I'm not sure if it was more than that, but he did have to cancel at least one. Meanwhile, though, the Democrats are saying it's time for Obama to return from the sidelines. But see, I think Obama, unlike the Clintons, is actually a little more savvy now, and he realizes that he is much better off behind the scenes, much better off not showing his face, not making public comment, because he actually is under so much scrutiny for all the illegality and unethics that happened in his administration.
The obvious question regarding the dossier that was used, a fabricated dossier that was used to rationalize the surveillance of the Republican candidate for president, a question that is raised by Peter Strzok's text message is simple. What did the president know, and when did he know it? Sooner or later, he ought to be required to sit before Congress under oath and answer that question. It looks to me like the old Italian saying, a fish rots from the head. And it looks to me like he has culpability in the biggest political scandal in American history, something that makes Watergate look like second-rate burglary.
And hopefully this all makes a headway sometime, and the president addresses this with I think, legal active, something needs to happen to these people, whether it's somebody going to jail, whether it's at least starting with a testimony under oath. I mean, that would be nice if they could just get somebody to testify under oath about what truly started the spying onto the Trump campaign, because they admit that happened now, Roger. So they can't put that cat back in the bag, as many different terms that they want to use. Oh, it was just an intelligence resource. Oh, that was just an officer. Oh, he was helping Trump. Give me a break. Give me a break. Nobody is buying that. So we'll see if it all comes out. But the Inspector General report is set to launch soon, and it will most likely show how James Comey was, let's just say, not behaving fairly. So Trump has had some obstacles in trying to have this summit with Kim Jong-un. Now, the first obstacle was John Bolton. Now, we're not sure. It's been speculated that John Bolton was playing bad cop to get the negotiations to a certain point, and then he backed off, and then Trump came in and got the summit back on. Why was John Bolton saying that we were going to use the Libyan model? Was he trying to sabotage the deal? Was he playing bad cop? Was it just bad structure of sentence? I don't know. That happens. And so then you have Lindsey Graham just the day before the summit saying that basically if Kim doesn't denuclearize, I think he said we were going to go with the Libyan model again. I'm not sure exactly, but the point is you had Bolton that didn't really seem to help it, and then you had Lindsey Graham that didn't really seem to help it. So this is how Rand Paul responded to that. Let's go to clip 14 first. This is Rand Paul responding on Fox News to what Bolton potentially did to the deal.
The neocons would never offer any carrot because they're all about the stick, and they want everybody to just kneel down and behave.
But one of those neocons, Senator, is at the table. John Bolton was at the table. I'm sure the president had that by design. Of course, Mike Pompeo was there as well, and others were there. But why do you think he did that? Because, of course, the North Koreans were apoplectic over his Libya comments, as you alluded to, and yet there he was. What did you make of it?
My hope is that he was at the children's table and that he wasn't influencing the discussion among adults.
I think he was at the main table.
That's a pretty, kind of a bit of a jab there to John Bolton from Rand Paul, Roger.
What's really amazing here, though, Owen, is the way liberals would like these negotiations to fall apart because they're conducted by Donald Trump. This reminds me of in President Nixon's second term, he reached a historic SALT agreement, strategic arms limitation agreement. Liberals, you would have thought, would have been happy about that, but they didn't like it because Nixon did it. It's the same thing here. This is the art of the deal. Trump's been very cautious from the beginning. He always said, maybe we'll have a deal, maybe we won't. Sure would be great if we did, but if we don't, that's okay too. He also carefully said, this isn't all going to happen in one meeting. This is a process. This guy is a master negotiator, and he will get his way on this. but he's also no sucker. We're not going to sign something where they're going to evade their responsibilities. So the old Reagan trust but verify, I think, will be the watchword in this deal in the final analysis.
Well, and then that's an amazing, I don't know what show this was on. I guess that that hack comedian that hacked it up at the correspondence dinner, they did a poll. Are you sort of hoping we don't get peace with North Korea, so you wouldn't have to give Trump credit? 71% say yes. Yeah, that's the thing. Their hatred for Trump is so deep-seated that they'd rather, it's the whole cut off your nose to spite your face. Michelle Wolf is this hack's name. We'll just call her the Wolf. So the Wolf has a poll, and people say, yeah, they don't want peace with North Korea because then they have to give Trump credit, again, to cut off your nose to spite your face. But, Roger, let's not recall, I mean, you go back, what were the liberals saying? Oh, Trump's going to start a war. He's so bad. Why is Trump trying to start a war? Why is Trump saying this to North Korea? Why is he doing this to North Korea? He's so bad. He's going to start a war. And they were mad that Trump wasn't going to get peace done with North Korea. Oh, then he has the summit. He's the first president to meet with North Korea. Now he's moving towards peace. And what do they say? Oh, how dare he meet with North Korea? How dare he meet with the evil Kim Jong-un? How dare he get peace?
It's Trump derangement syndrome. Of all people, you would think liberals would be happy about the denuclearization and the peace process.
That used to be, what was it, the 70s and 80s, Roger, when denuclearization was #1 on the Democrat platform?
Exactly, the nuclear freeze. Remember, that was their big thing. Now, Trump very skillfully does what 3 previous presidents could not do. The saber rattling that they all denounced is what gets them to the table, and he's on the cusp of a historic peace deal, and they can't stand it. Because it's Donald Trump, just because it's Donald Trump.
Now let's go to Rand Paul responding to Lindsey Graham and his statements that could have perhaps been an obstacle to the Trump-Kim summit.
The president hasn't made any military threats going into the summit, as you know, but Senator Lindsey Graham, your colleague, he wants an authorization for the use of military force in case the talks fail. Do you think President Trump has taken the military option off the table, and would you vote for such an authorization?
That was the night before the summit that Graham said that.
Absolutely not. Lindsey Graham is a danger to the country by even proposing ideas like authorizing war with Korea. My goodness. So that should be something that is seen as naive and seen as something that really serious people shouldn't even really be discussing.
You're calling a fellow Republican senator a danger to the country. I want you to elaborate.
Well, if you've watched over time, I think what you've seen from Lindsey Graham is
get a knife into him.
A naive worldview where he believes that war is always the answer, and that also means that expenditures for war are always the answer. And so I think that's bankrupting us as a country, but it's also gotten us involved in dozens and dozens of war where it's not really clear what the American interest is in those wars. And I think sometimes the reaction to our involvement in those wars has actually been worse than had we not been involved at all.
There's Rand Paul, a good man, a purist, and I think that's what keeps him out of any serious presidential election campaign. But I think he's right. I think he's right about what he said about Lindsey Graham. I think he was right in his response to John Bolton. And you just wonder, Roger, though, when looking at this and saying, where are the Democrats? Where are the Democrats pushing back against Lindsey Graham? You don't even get to hear the mouthpiece from a Democrat party saying, wow, Lindsey Graham, why would you say that?
Does anyone in their right mind really think Donald Trump is going to let down his guard in the middle of these negotiations? There's zero chance. I have to admit, I have really come to admire Rand Paul as a man of principle. If I had to match my politics with any member of the U.S. Senate, I think my politics most closely mirror his. He's a conservative with a libertarian tinge, deeply suspicious of the deep state and the deep state's war machine. I think I agree with everything he just said.
And again, I wish, and you know how this goes, Roger. I mean, it's really hard for a purist like Rand Paul to get through in a presidential election when being a purist, unfortunately, separates so many people from your campaign that they don't end up voting for you. But perhaps, like you said, politically, this is probably the guy who matches up with our political leanings the most. But for this last election, we needed a wrecking ball, and that was President Trump, and he's, for the most part, delivered so far. Before we go to the next break, and we're going to be joined by Alex Jones, I believe, in the next segment, Look at this story out of the DFW CBS local. Brain-eating amoeba found in Louisiana water system. A potentially deadly brain-eating amoeba has been found again in Louisiana. Independent testing returned positive results for Naegleria fowleri. Sorry, I'm totally butchering that, which causes fatal brain swelling and tissue destruction. And so they found this in the Louisiana water system. The third time since 2015, this potentially deadly organism has been found in the state's water system. And this is why we sell water filters. And it's amazing that people don't understand this. And they say, look at Infowars telling you there's chemicals in the water. Look at Infowars reporting on the potential bacteria in the water. Okay, well, that's just a fact. We don't make that up. And then guess what? We want filtered water too. So when you see a story like this, brain-eating amoeba found in Louisiana water system, your first reaction, if you haven't done it already, is to go to InfoWarsStore.com and order a water filter. These are the best water filters for the price point that you can find. There is the Alexapure water filtration system right there for your home. If you aren't filtering your water, ladies and gentlemen, you are crazy. You have no idea the chemicals, the bacteria, everything that's in that water, not just the stuff that they add intentionally, like the fluorosilicic acid, but the runoff from the big pharmaceutical companies, the brain-eating amoebas, the lead. Filter your water, ladies and gentlemen. InfoWarsStore.com has the best water filters, and there's free shipping right now at InfoWarsStore.com. Free shipping. Get your water filter today. Alex Jones on the other side. Roger and I are talking here during the break. There's a Tucker Carlson clip. We may go to this, saying if you don't like the direction of the country. In fact, let's just roll to this now. Let's go to this Tucker Carlson clip 8, from last night, talking about people complaining about the direction of the country.
Well, have more children. I grew up in a world where it was considered embarrassing to have more than 2 children. I don't think that's the case now among middle class, upper middle class people, but it was. And having kids is like, first of all, it's the most rewarding, greatest, most fun thing you can do. But it's also the most profound thing. You know, if you don't like the direction of the country, have children, raise them the way that you want, consistent with your beliefs. It seems like all the answers are basic, nature-based answers, in my opinion, to everything. And that's the most basic of all. Have more kids. Raise decent children.
Tucker, don't give them any ideas. These people are already indoctrinating our children. We don't need them bringing up brainwashed minions intentionally into this world, Tucker. I understand where Tucker's coming from here, but let's not give these people any ideas. These are the most hateful brainwashed radicals here that hate their own prosperity. I don't think we need them to procreate here, Roger.
You know, this is why Tucker Carlson's ratings are really soaring on Fox, because he is a truth teller. I know Tucker's son, Buckley, a fine young man. I'm honored that he wrote the introduction for my book, Stone's Rules, which you can get at the Infowars.com store now at a special price. And I think he's exactly right. What we're finding is, even as you pointed out, Susan Rice's offspring is a conservative. Mm-hmm. We should not assume that children being brought into the world will grow up like their parents. It's not necessarily true.
Interesting. An interesting point that you just posed there. Yeah, because you wouldn't have thought it, but yes, Susan Rice's son is apparently a big-time conservative, Stanford University graduate, unlike his mother. But I wonder if they understand what Tucker is even talking about there. Because I feel like the average liberal that complains about the direction the country is going wants the state to raise the child. And so they still won't even understand, like he's saying, like, have children. What he's saying is, put forth the effort to raise children the right way to create the world that you want to see. I'm not even sure if they'll understand that message.
No, what he's saying is inculcate in your children the values that you think are important so they can continue the fight for a free country. I think that's what he's saying.
What is this bar graph you guys have pulled up here? Mean of number of children think of self as liberal or conservative. So you're saying this is how old? I'm trying to figure this out here. The nature of this bar graph that they're showing. Oh, okay. So conservatives just have more children. Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. I'm not surprised.
And that portends good things for the future.
Yes, indeed.
Think of all those votes.
Because see, that's how a conservative thinks about getting votes, is having children. A liberal thinks about getting votes by opening the border and by having criminals vote.
I follow Maggie Haberman in the New York Times on her Instagram feed, and she's got adorable children. And I always put a comment saying, future young Republicans. Drives her crazy.
Oh, I'm sure it does. But that's the thing is, again, people that listen to Tucker's show understand what he's saying, and that's that you have kids, you raise them to be conservative, not if you have kids, you have the state raise them to be liberals, or beyond that, you have the state raise them to be dependent. That's what it really is. The Democrats want you dependent on the welfare, dependent on the food stamps, dependent on them to deliver it to you, as opposed to a conservative message, which is, no, you need to be independent so that you can provide that for yourself, so that you can provide that for your family. You were actually saying, too, that you believe, you're seeing it, some polls now that are indicating that African-American youth are the approval for Trump amongst that, or the support for Trump amongst that demographic is soaring. You think that has to do with the Dennis Rodman, the Kanye West?
Particularly among young African males. Now, will they vote? Are they voters? That's an interesting question, but there's clearly a shift going on. That's why the ferocious attack on Kanye. That's why the ferocious attack on Dennis Rodman. You know, people are coming off the plantation, and the Democratic left establishment doesn't like free thinking. They don't like the idea that these people can think for themselves.
And what does that typically result in? They leave the Democrat Party. Now, you've got the senator from Tennessee, Bob Corker, running around. This is the same guy that got booed at Trump's rally in Tennessee. Bob Corker introduced Trump, got booed. Or no. I think it was actually Trump that maybe, I don't remember if Trump mentioned Bob Corker's name and they booed him, or if Corker came up and introduce Trump and they booed him. Either way, they booed Corker. It's comments like this from Bob Corker on CNN, which is why he gets booed by his own state.
You got a bunch of gray-haired old guys that had their cult that controlled Washington for decades. Bob Corker was one of those. And people started realizing that Bob Corker was a fraud. He wasn't a real conservative. Okay. He wasn't doing what he promised.
So this is actually Ben Ferguson saying, you know what, pull this down. I misunderstood the clip here. This is my mistake. I misunderstood the clip. But here's the thing. This narrative is actually going around that Trump voters are in a cult. I bet you could plug that into SEO right now, and you'll see that there's multiple people saying that Trump supporters are in a cult. They're the. This is amazing, Roger. Everything they say about us, it's them. They're the ones that colluded with Russia. They're the ones that are racist. They're the ones that are in a cult.
Well, in this case, there are certain established Republicans who don't understand that Trumpism is larger than the Republican Party. And in every one of their states, believe me, Donald Trump is more popular in Tennessee than Robert Corker is in Tennessee. And this is also true with Ben Sasse in Nebraska, for example. So every Republican president has remade the party in their own image. Lincoln, Eisenhower, Reagan, and so on. And so it is true with Trump. So what Corker is really complaining about is the fact that Trump is more popular than he is, and that his establishment colleagues are.
So the crew just found it. It was Trump who mentioned Bob Corker. They all booed. And Bob Corker did say the GOP is becoming cult-like under Trump. You know, Roger, here's what I think one of the problems is, or one of the, it's like, there's such a disdain and hatred for the Republican Party, not just amongst the left and Democrats, which, okay, but there's also a disdain for the Republican Party amongst many centrists. And I think it's because they see the R behind Trump's name, they have this distaste for Donald Trump, but they don't understand. He ran under the Republican Party because he understood that was the track to get into the White House. He didn't run as a Republican because he's a member of the Republican Party. He ran as a Republican because he saw that that's where the dominoes were aligned to fall by getting the Republican nomination and winning as a Republican.
Look, he correctly figured out in 2000 when I was trying to convince him to run for president as the Reform Party candidate that you could only get elected president as one of the nominees of the two major parties. Secondarily, though, if you look at the results of the election in Wisconsin, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, and Ohio, you will see that he was able to outperform Mitt Romney and John McCain before him because he's had this ability to reach beyond the Republican Party. That's building a new coalition, and if he continues on the current track of economic prosperity and peace abroad, you're going to have a whole new realignment, a whole new coalition. Choosing the Second Amendment issue as a centerpiece for 2018 is one of the biggest mistakes the Democrats can make because it gets us beyond country club Republicans. Many Second Amendment supporters are not Republicans. They're Democrats. They're blue-collar, working-class Democrats or independents who will vote with us on that key issue.
Well, don't you feel like that is just a path that they've chosen to go down because they're starting to realize here as the midterms approach that the hate Trump message, the hate Trump campaign is not going to lead to victory. So they're falling back on the next best thing for them, which is to attack the Second Amendment and demonize guns. Don't you think that might have something to do with this?
Well, look, I think they want to take away our guns because what they really want to do is take away our First Amendment rights. What they really want to do is kneecap us on the internet, censor us, take us off YouTube, take us off Facebook. This is the war that's being waged on Infowars even as we speak. And they know it'll be a lot easier if they can remove people's Second Amendment rights.
And this is why your support at InfoWarsStore.com is so important. And this is why we're doing a 34-hour broadcast spectacular right now. It's going to go all the way through till tomorrow at 6 p.m., the conclusion of the War Room, which is hosted by myself and Roger Stone. But on the other side, Alex Jones is going to be joining us, making his debut on this 34-hour broadcast spectacular. The release of the IG report to come soon. James Comey is going to be totally exposed for rigging the Hillary Clinton email investigation. It's all coming up next on The Alex Jones Show. Don't go anywhere.
As if the severity at the Singapore Capella Hotel wasn't racked with enough cosmic intensity before the meeting took place between the Rocket Man and the old dotard, as they previously described each other, reeling from Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's backstabbery, and outraged Trump administration economic advisor Larry Kudlow was rushed to the Walter Reed Medical Center suffering from a heart attack. This was no ragamuffin affair. After the two leaders comfortably arrived at the Capella Singapore Hotel grounds, Kim Jong-un settled into one of the finest hotel rooms on Earth, surrounded by fields of roaming peacocks, an amusement park, and complete with a personal bathroom for Kim Jong-un, as requested. And oddly enough, no other American quantified the absence of any previous leadership to tackle the North Korean hermit nuclear kingdom like Dennis Rodman.
And Obama didn't even give me the time of day. I asked him, I said, I have something to say from North Korea. He just brushed me off. But that didn't deter me. I still kept going back. I kept going back. I kept going back. I showed my loyalty and my trustworthy to this country. And I said to everybody, I said, the door will open. When I said those damn things, when I went back home, I got so many death threats. I knew it. I was the only one. I never had no one to hear me. I didn't know one had to see me. But I took those bullets. I took all that. I took everything. Everyone came at me, and I'm still standing. And today is a great day for everybody. Singapore, Tokyo, China, everything. It's a great day.
No less bringing an end to the table, the atrocity known as the Korean War that began on June 25th, 1950, just about a fortnight shy of 68 years ago, along with an effort toward denuclearization in exchange for security.
North Korea has previously confirmed to us its willingness to denuclearize, and we are eager to see if those words prove sincere. The fact that our two leaders are sitting down face to face is a sign of the enormous potential to accomplish something that will immensely benefit both of our peoples and the entire world.
I want to thank Chairman Kim for taking the first bold step toward a bright new future for his people. Our unprecedented meeting, the first between an American president and a leader of North Korea, proves that real change is indeed possible. My meeting with Chairman Kim was honest, direct, and productive. We got to know each other well in a very confined period of time, under very strong circumstance.
While the crumbling fake news media attempted to write off the entire affair, CNN's Jim Acosta even yelled, "Are you going to give up your nukes?" during the photo op.
We're very proud of what took place today. I think our whole relationship with North Korea and the Korean Peninsula is it's going to be a very much different situation than it has in the past. We both want to do something. We both are going to do something. And we have developed a very special bond. So people are going to be very impressed. People are going to be very happy. And we're going to take care of a very big and very dangerous problem for the world. And I want to thank Chairman Kim. We spent a lot of time together today, very intensive time. And I would actually say that it worked out for both of us far better than anybody could have expected.
Get ready for the big payback, fake liberals. This is what American leadership looks like. John Bound reporting for Infowars.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Adams. What he's been talking about word for word got put into the amazing little short video that President Trump showed Kim Jong-un, the power of positive thinking, history not repeating itself if we get involved and become history's actors, to steal a phrase from Karl Rove. What was he talking about? He's saying, we know that secret, you don't. So you repeat it, but we don't. Well, I appreciate Scott Adams coming on short notice, creator of Dilbert, you name it. Really, life coach is what he segued into, and very, very popular online doing that. And, of course, he's been at the center of the whole Kanye West awakening process and made the point a few months ago that Kanye had blown a hole in reality. So I guess that reality could then start pouring in. He talked about how it's a lie that history repeats. It's something politicians, people use against us. It doesn't have to repeat if we don't want it to. And now I was watching the little 2-minute video that Trump showed Kim Jong-un that, as Scott Adams pointed out a few days ago, Owen, could be the best negotiating strategy ever. And it's certainly new, and it certainly worked so far. But I'm watching, I'm like, oh, that's Scott Adams word for word. This is what he said in his last video about Kanye. Somebody must be watching. And then, sure enough, Scott Adams put a video out pointing out, not taking credit for it, but pointing out those parallels. And so I'm just wondering with Scott Adams, obviously he and Trump are going to the same fount of knowledge. And I know there was this pastor that was real famous that was a positive thinker, positive speaker, that helped motivate Trump to a great extent. But just the positivity coming back into the world is even making me a lot happier of a person, because I tend to get negative sometimes, too, about the bad things in the world instead of getting positive about the good things. But then I start seeing all these great things happening. But while I was on vacation, I ran into Democrats who get in my face. 3 of them did. And I'd say, what about the peace deal? Isn't it great? What about the economy? And they'd just say, shut up, racist. And I said, that's not reality, and that's not true. And so it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier that we have big polls out. It's on Infowars.com. Paul Joseph Watson article, TV poll. 71% of liberals don't want peace with North Korea because Trump would take credit. They're having national TV polls with Michelle Wolf's Netflix show, and 71% don't want peace and admit it's because they don't like Trump. This is like a death cult of negative people that would rather die in nuclear war. Scott Adams, you're really good at putting your finger on the major pulse of the good things and the bad things. But if Kanye blew a hole in reality, which I agree, and now that breach has turned into a huge gaping maw, where are we historically right now? And thanks for joining us.
Well, I call it the beginning of the golden age. I've been defining the golden age as that moment when people start realizing that the remaining big problems are no longer physical. A physical problem would be you run out of food, you run out of resources. And we're not in that situation. We're more in a situation where North Korea is a perfect example. We were worried about what they were thinking, and they were worried about what we were thinking. But neither of us had any reason to be at war or to start a war or to continue bad feelings. So by both Chairman Kim, who said it first, by the way, he said in his first statement at the summit He said words to the effect of, let's leave the past behind. And then you saw President Trump with his video that's getting a lot of attention saying exactly the same thing. Because if you dwell in the past, you're stuck with, we can't move forward because you did this that one time, or some relative of yours did something one time, or our side did something that one time. You just can't move forward. And it seems to me that the biggest story here that isn't reported, because people don't like to frame anything positively for President Trump, when they say, hey, he walked away from that summit with nothing. And I say, it's easy to argue, well, he got a commitment to do this or a commitment to do that. But realistically, all of the commitments they made, the commitments we made, are easily reversible. So it's not really about that. What the president did, and Chairman Kim did, and I give him credit as well, is that they have redefined the situation from two mortal enemies, one who must win and the other one must lose, to two potential friends who have taken the first few steps that are not really representative of the whole journey, but they're on the right path to friendship, something where we win, they win, and frankly, they win a lot bigger than we win if this plays out right. So the whole reframing from enemies to probably friends who can help each other is what the president walked away with, and it's completely ignored. And when he's statement that we're essentially safer from nuclear war now, and his critics said, "What? That's crazy." And I say, who has a nuclear war with their ally? Who bombs somebody who has just offered to help rebuild your country? Who becomes an enemy with somebody who's got their hand out literally and figuratively? It's the sort of thing that just doesn't really happen. So he reframed the situation in a way that effectively made a nuclear war no longer have a purpose. Who bombs their friends? It just doesn't happen. And as long as we're on that path, even tentatively, even for steps, and everybody would agree that much more would need to be done to make it real. But as long as you're on the path to mutual benefit, nobody fights. Nobody. It just doesn't happen. And that, I think, is the biggest unreported story.
Scott, I went back a few days ago and I watched your 20-minute viral video, or however long it was, on Kanye blowing a hole in reality. And then I went back and watched your new video. But before I watched that one, I wanted to go watch the old one. And I don't want to say Trump's plagiarizing you. He's not. But it's word for word about unlimited resources. We've transcended resources. We can flip the script. We can take control of our destiny. History doesn't have to repeat, but we're the people in the critical time to do it. I mean, seeing that, you guys are on the same page. So maybe for listeners that want to learn more about the antecedents to your political and your philosophy in life, what would they want to research?
Well, my book Win Bigly has a good introduction to that sort of stuff. But as you mentioned before, the influential pastor Norman Vincent Peale was the person who really was the father, if you will, of the idea of power of positive thinking. That was his best-selling book, and he was Trump's pastor when Trump was a kid, and he was influential to me as well. I read his books, so I think we all got a little bit infected by the strategy of being positive and framing things in the positive way for win-win situations. So it probably shouldn't be a big surprise that people who had the same influences have arrived at the same way of
sure, but a couple of years ago when you did the whole mental judo where you said, "Oh, I'm supporting Hillary or I'll be basically murdered," you were saying, "I believe Trump is following this. I believe he'll be successful," and I think it's because you understood his mindset that you have, better than anybody, I think, charted what he would do.
Yeah, and the other thing he does well that he doesn't get credit for is a sense of priorities. If you look at the criticisms of him, and you were to make a list of all the things people say, and then make a list of the things he's actually doing that are real things like the economy, North Korea, progress with beating ISIS, etc. Those are all real things and are top priorities. The things people are arguing about are, well, he didn't pass the fact checking on this according to us. It tends to be a little check what the facts are in many cases.
Exactly. They're still playing the game like they're God and they dictate reality.
Yeah. So, and the president has put, winning and making America great again, having a strong economy, all those things very expressly at the top of his priority list. And when he uses persuasion to get there, the critics are arguing the least important parts of what he said. They're arguing about the wording. They're arguing about the technical accuracy. They're arguing about whether in some way that we can't imagine things will be worse in the future because we allowed this to happen.
But what matters is it's really working. So I want to ask Scott Adams, a real visionary, what's coming next straight ahead? And I want to talk about the negativity, though, as people get more positive and we realize that humanity's in a pretty good position if we behave like it. Well, what is the negative side going to do? Because they don't seem to be getting better. They seem to be getting just insane and just making up their own false reality while pointing their finger at us and saying we're the ones lying. We'll be back. Alex Jones here, Owen Schroyer's riding shotgun. We've got the one and only Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, on with us. Win Bigly is his new best-selling book that I read and was excellent. TV poll, 71% of liberals don't want peace with North Korea because Trump would take the credit. I'm going to play a short clip of this, but I'm not kidding. I was on vacation for 8 days, as you know, in Hawaii, a working vacation. I took all 4 of my children, my wife, we all went. And I had leftists 3 times come over and say, how do you sleep at night, you racist? And then make up something I never said that the media says I said, or some edited quote. And then I would try to humanize it and say, hey, listen, what about Trump and the economy coming back? What about Trump freeing up a lot of these experimental medical treatments, people that are terminal? Blah, 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 blah. Get away from me. I'm going to call security. So they would talk to me. 2 of the 3 people would then threaten to call the police on me if I even spoke back to them. We're talking 20 seconds into conversation. I'd say, fine, I'm sorry Trump's getting the big peace deal. And they're like, oh, whatever. And now we have a poll. But that's what's crazy is what Scott Adams said is 1,000% correct. We got, by putting pressure on them at first, got them to come across the DMZ, got them to meet with the South Korean president, unprecedented, got them to blow up their nuclear facilities, got them to basically unconditionally agree on a path to total denuclearization with a real deal to build them up so the military-industrial complex doesn't get the trillions the Koreans do. This is a good thing, and you've got major Nobel laureate groups and people that are on the panel over there now saying he is nominated and that he deserves praise. This is how we have peace. But the Democrats, who are the ones that always want peace and always want this great stuff, and Republicans are all warmongers. Here comes Trump, who was against the first Iraq war, the second, all that stuff. Here he comes, proven right, and man, they are pissed. We'll ask Scott Adams how they're going to respond, where this cognitive dissonance goes, how crazy it's going to get before they finally admit they've been in a cult. Let's play the clip. Here it is from Netflix.
Are you sort of hoping we don't get peace with North Korea so you wouldn't have to give Trump credit? Yes or no? Yeah, I mean...
That's how liberal they are, that they're like, they would rather the world explodes. They're like, I told you guys.
Yeah, 71%. I don't know what is going to happen when, the bomb hits and then, all those Trump people, they're not going to be like, oh, we should have been okay with her email. Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense anymore. That's the article on Infowars.com. That's Michelle Wolf's Netflix show. Scott, what's going to happen to these people as things just get better and better? You're going to get sick of the winning and the winning and the winning. You're going to say, I'm tired of the winning. No, I'm sorry. We're going to keep winning.
Yeah. If you have a moment, check out the Nate Silver tweet he just did, mentioning that people seem to be looking for reasons why Trump did poorly instead of looking for reasons why the agreement is probably making the risk of nuclear war less. That would be a fun one to look at. Now, I had predicted on election day when Trump got elected, there would be this massive, cluster bomb of cognitive dissonance. And we saw that. There were, dozens and dozens of reasons given for why this unexpected outcome happened. And you saw people imagining they lived in a Hitler-like state. You saw people imagining all manner of things that were going to go wrong. And of course, none of them did. Now some time has passed. Their opposition has, hardened. And at the same time, we're going into this North Korean situation, which is the ultimate trigger for cognitive dissonance, because it's very thing that everybody thought was just too hard, that nobody could do it. And he's sort of making it look easy, and it's on a path that something really good could happen. As I said, we've changed the frame from two enemies who really need to, get serious about, about how you specifically go forward, to two potential friends. That is a whole different situation. So I think that if this goes to the next level of where we're actually very comfortable that their nuclear weapons are controlled, identified, they're moving in the man of the country, that you're going to see brains exploding, because their world won't make sense that this person that they believe is just completely incompetent has done the thing that all the smart people couldn't do. And I mean this legitimately. I'm not saying this is interesting political punditry. I'm not just trying to be interesting. I believe legitimately there's a huge mental risk here that could happen if North Korea goes in the right direction, and it looks like it is.
I totally agree. The economy coming back, all the other positive things would take up the time we have. I went through the positive things, but it's because I think you quantified it. This is a non-zero sum game now that we have this much technology. And a lot of the globalists admit that and know that. They don't want people to get to that point where they don't have control anymore, where the establishment doesn't, and where humanity really accelerates. I think we're reaching that acceleration point, but the crony capitalists, the monopoly powers, the interests that want chaos so they can control it and knock out their competition, they're doing everything they can to block it. And then here comes Trump, who doesn't want to keep it a hermit state and doesn't want to keep the aircraft carriers there. And, of course, they were criticizing him for beefing things up to put the pressure and the art of the deal. What are they going to do then? Is there any way? What would you say to them when they come up to me? Scott, you're a smart guy, and Owen chime in, you're riding shotgun. When they come over and just say, racist, I hate you, shame on you, and it's like they're children. They're using peer pressure on me. I just see them as a mental patient making stuff up and trying to control reality, but I don't know what to say to them because they aren't listening. It's all one way. I don't exist. It's like I'm there for them to LARP. It's like live action role playing, and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons and they've come upon, some type of evil demon or something.
Yeah, in my experience, you can't talk somebody out of that kind of frame. So if somebody's locked in, there's nothing you're going to say, even if you said everything right and logical and persuasive, they're pretty locked in. The only thing that's going to make a difference is results. So if, for example, the president makes some real progress with urban revitalization or prison reform, if he keeps doing some what I would call very strategic but also humanitarian pardons, if he keeps doing that, the weight of evidence is just going to make it too hard to hold your frame. We already saw somebody send me by tweet a comment. An individual had asked Noam Chomsky what he thought about the North Korea situation, and Chomsky actually had a positive opinion on it, that it looked like it was a step in the right direction. Now you see Nate Silver go, you see Noam Chomsky go, you see the economy roaring, but you really need something specifically on the racism part of that. I don't think low unemployment is going to get you there, although it helps a lot, obviously. You need something that people can't easily explain as, well, that's just more Obama stuff. You need something that's new, that's yours, that's visual, that's undeniable. And I like, for example, the Jack Johnson. Do I have the name right? Pardon?
Yes.
Because what was powerful about that is it didn't have to happen. And anybody who has in their mind, oh, he's just sending these racist secret, dog whistles, you'd have to explain how that could possibly help you with a presumable racist base who would only like racist stuff. It's exactly the opposite of what their frame predicts would happen.
And the polls show people are waking up. Let's come back one more segment with Scott Adams and find out what he thinks Trump's going to do next on the other side, but also what happens if they assassinate Trump. Scott Adams.
And it's having an impact.
A lot of his supporters believe that we are the enemy of the American people, and that is really, really an awful situation. We are not the enemy of the American people. We love the American people. All right.
Boy, Scott Adams, CNN is losing the mind war when their ratings are the lowest they've ever been. They're just local TV stations, just in like New York, have more viewers than CNN does. One New York TV station, Weather Report, has more viewers than I have in an hour, literally. We have affiliates that have hundreds of thousands of people tuning in throughout a whole show. They have hundreds of thousands per hour. They are a joke, force-fed at the government facilities, like the airport this morning when I was in DFW. I'm sitting there having CNN report on IQs dropping in the U.S. Well, certainly IQs dropping over there. So, Scott Adams, I brought up a negative point so that hopefully it doesn't happen, because I don't want to be overly too positive. I mean, I don't believe like the Oprah thing, like The Secret. If you just believe you're going to manifest, a big old juicy turkey in front of you that just came out of the oven, it's not going to happen. But if we have the resources, the ideas, work together, we've gotten to a level where we can have almost anything into the future as a culture, as a society. I totally agree with you, and you've helped me be more positive in saying that fighting with a negative collectivist doesn't really do anything to them. Just succeeding and showing them by example, like Trump is doing, doggedly saying, give me more stuff to fix, and then he's attacking it like a business manager. He's a maverick that got elected. He's already changed the world. They keep saying, oh, his dad gave him $1 million. Trump's a total maverick, never been in politics, comes in and wins. You can't slice it any other way than Trump is one of the most important people in history already. They say, oh, he doesn't really want to win the election. He doesn't want to win re-election. He doesn't want to campaign for the midterms. He's doing all of that because Trump knows his name, everything is now bound to our success. And our success is global success. So I have to be a cheerleader. But that said, getting into the whole racism thing, I totally agree. The minimum sentencing, that's basically tripled for the type of cocaine on average the inner city folks use. Get rid of that. He's decriminalizing marijuana, something Obama would never do. I mean, already it's just insane what he's done. So what else positive should he do? A, and then B, what are the downsides? What happens if they're crazy enough to hype up some nut like we saw with shooting up the congressional baseball team? What if somebody kills Trump? God forbid. What would the action be? Reversing all the success, how angry would his supporters be? And then has the left pushing for his death everywhere even thought about what that would do to them, Scott Adams? So looking into a crystal ball, I'm not wanting that to happen. I'm saying in that horrible reality, what would unfold?
Yeah, I hate to think about that and give energy to that thought, but I would say the obvious, which is that if you imagine that for whatever reason President Trump, let's say, stepped down for personal reasons, that if the next president is a Democrat, I think the policies are going to be so similar to what Trump has established that it wouldn't be as big a change as you think. Now, there would be things like healthcare that might be quite different, but it's going to be hard to raise people's taxes. It's just going to be a tough sell. It's going to be hard to go back to hating North Korea. There's just going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be hard to do. What's he going to do? Reverse the pardon for Jack Johnson? I mean, when you come right down to the stuff he's done, it's hard to reverse it, but it's easier to criticize it if you're not in power. So I'd be a little less worried about it going bad. Hey, I wanted to call out something that happened just while we were talking here. There was a tweet that came out from President Moon of South Korea, and I'm just going to call out one sentence, a larger statement. He was talking about the North Korea success, and he goes, I pay my high compliments for the courage and determination of the two leaders, Trump and Chairman Kim. And here's the next sentence that I thought was worth calling out. He goes, not to settle for that outdated and familiar reality, but to take a daring step toward change. And then the next sentence he goes, to help break down the last remaining Cold War legacy on Earth. This is the way of thinking that's changing everything. Wow. It's just letting go of the past. It's not just Kanye, it's not just me, it's not just the president. It's Chairman Kim, it's President Moon. This is a new way of thinking, which promotes the fact that our problems are now the way we think of them. They're psychological.
This is so huge. Let me ask you.
Deal with them that way.
Let me ask you this, Scott. Why didn't Obama do this? Why couldn't they do everything Trump's doing?
That problem is, or that question is probably 100 different variables. It'd be hard to pull out one, but the one that jumps out is persuasion. So President Trump's understanding of human beings, his understanding of persuasion, allows him to set priorities in a completely different way. So Obama was probably very fact-based. maybe tied a little bit to, whatever's the way we've done it before. And those are real limitations. And this president doesn't seem to operate as if limitations exist in the normal way that we think they should.
I actually would have to disagree with Scott on this. I think that it's actually very simple why Trump was able to get this done and not Obama. I don't think you have to look for many reasons at all. I think it's one reason: he wanted to. All he had to do was have the desire and the will to do it, and he got it done. That is the biggest difference between Trump and Obama. And there's this narrative I'm seeing in the media right now where they're saying, oh, when Obama said he wanted to meet with Kim Jong-un, and this is an attack that they had on Fox News was upset. Oh, what if Obama met with the Iran, Ayatollah, and shook his hand and said, this is a great, brave man? Conservatives would have been all upset. But there's a fundamental difference between not just Obama, but Clinton and Bush and everyone prior to Trump. They didn't want to put America first. They didn't have America's interests first. They had their own special interests, their own agenda, all that.
Exactly. We know when Trump's doing something, he's doing it for our interest, but that tends to help other people as well. But Scott, I think, understands that. He's just looking at it from a positive perspective. I mean, let's hear it from the horse's mouth himself. But, I mean, the whole issue is, you're absolutely right. Trump wants to end the Cold War for good, which will save us trillions of dollars in the aggregate, and let's be honest, a lot of the military-industrial complex doesn't want this to happen. So this is a big, bold peace move, the likes of which we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan and the fall of the Berlin Wall. Scott Adams?
Well, I would put my my own spin on what you just said. I like to avoid saying that I know people's inner thoughts. So I usually avoid things like somebody wants something unless they've said it in their own words. But the way I would put it is that, at least in terms of North Korea, what President Trump did is not wanting a result. He decided that they weren't going to have nuclear weapons, and they only had two ways to get there. There's the ugly way, and there's the awesome way. And the video,
he knows how to make it very clear-cut choices, flip the script, break the mold. And what you said is so astute. I've thought about this a lot. There's no turning back. Even if they kill Trump, which I hope doesn't happen, it's already almost irreversible, because here came somebody, not a cold-blooded corporation, is wanting more power and more money. Here came Trump really wanting to be a man of destiny and telling us to be part of destiny. This is an incredible time to be alive, Scott Adams. I hate to gush about Trump, but let's just say it. What would it be like if Hillary had gotten in?
Well, and give the full credit to the leaders. I think we're in a new age where, especially with a populist president, it's very much a audience participation in government in a way it never used to be, just because of the growth and the power of social media. So I think that President Trump's success has a lot to do with the number of people who are behind him and the energy that they give him, the support they give him, and the ideas that they give him. I think you see him actually responding to better ideas and public opinion in a way we haven't quite seen before. And I mean that in a positive way. So we may be reaching a point,
critical mass,
probably after the president, where the public and the good ideas can bubble up, and then the leaders can't ignore them.
Well, Scott Adams, I really appreciate your work, and I'm not just saying that. You've really helped me. I read Win Bigly. I gave it to my son. He's really become more positive, because he was already real positive, but it's really helped me, because I get so focused on the bad guys. I don't focus on the good guys more. And you and Kanye and Candace Owens and Trump and all of us together, it's just been amazing. And the fact that you don't let the globalists bully you and not coming on the show, you're a real maverick, Scott. So God bless you. People can follow you at Scott Adams Says and get the book Win Bigly. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, Scott.
Thank you.
That was powerful. Now let's come back. I mean, I get your perspective. I actually agree with you. Trump has the goodwill, and he said that in the video. So we'll talk about goodwill when we come back, and we'll get into the AG report that's just now coming out. Stay with us. That was Scott Adams, folks. I'm Alex Jones. No, I'm a very, very positive person. But over the years, people thought I was negative because I was always attacking what was bad the globalists were doing, which was critical, so people knew there was a private corporate world government above the law, tax-exempt, diplomatic community that, by the way, has an end game of depopulation and is anti-Christian, anti-family, which is now all admitted. So that was a positive thing that we served in doing, and we still do it. Like, hey, 5G and all these studies, gives you really bad brain cancer. But when you look at somebody like Scott Adams, it's not like Oprah and The Secret, where you just imagine you're going to materialize a 100-carat diamond in front of you. You got to go to Africa, you got to dig in the ground, you got to find it. Okay? You got to have the wherewithal. You got to have the mining skills. But we have the technology. And for whatever it is we want to do, we can now basically, like little g, made in God's image, create things, do amazing things. But we can also have bad people get control of human intellect and do really horrible things. And those are the people that crave control. And I want to play this video. This is a edited down trailer from Get Me Roger Stone. I want to find the HD version somewhere around here in our databanks, but I found this on YouTube. And this is why they hate us. If you want to know why they want to shut us down, why they demonize Infowars, why they demonize Trump, is the winning. And they want us to forget about the winning and say, oh, they won because they're Russians. Yeah, and I'm a blue-blooded baboon, too. I mean, that's ridiculous. But again, change the subject from the WikiLeaks and what's in them to, oh, the Russians. 2+ years later, no proof of that. And now the AG report, pieces of it are out. It hasn't fully come out yet, but it's what we already know. We've got Comey working, and you've got others working with the Clintons to let them know what was coming and letting witnesses know they were going to be called. It's witness tampering. It's obstruction of justice. It's absconding. It's conspiracy. It's racketeering.
It's high treason.
It's criminal. Because it is high treason because it's against the country and against the voters. We don't have a king in this country. We have the voters. We have the Constitution, Bill of Rights. And when you're trying to overturn that system, you can do anything you want in this country, but you can't try to overturn people's rights. In a republic, the minority rights are guarded just like the majority rights.
Well, and let's be perfectly clear. If they want to complain about rigging elections, how is protecting Hillary Clinton, one of the candidates, not trying to rig an election? The woman should have been prosecuted, maybe even been serving a sentence while she was campaigning.
Maybe even? I mean, the train of criminal activity is dizzying.
I'm sorry. Absolutely should have been in jail, perhaps even worse.
So if you want to know why they hate us and why they changed the subject, when the Japanese prime minister throws out a little bit of the food to get the fish up to the water, hell, we do it the same way here. A lot of folks I know have a little pond in their backyard. They got bass in it, catfish. You throw a few little pieces in to get them up to where you're at. You throw the whole little bucket in, you feed the fish. People have stock ponds, have those. He dumps it all in. They turn that into, look at how he's inept, because they know he's a cheerleader for America. And the fact that they've had to admit, in fact, let's cue up the Bill Maher after this, because I wanted to play that again yesterday and I didn't. Bill Maher, he said this a week and a half ago, we should play this every day. He says, I want to plunge the economy. I want a crashing economy so that we can stop the Trump agenda.
No, Alex,
and yay, ruin. I mean, these people are, what do I tell you every day? They want to make you poor. It's called feudalism.
And then you play this. You play Bill Maher saying we want to collapse the economy. Then you play the wolf saying we want there to be nuclear war with North Korea. That's all you need to do. I mean, that tells you their entire mindset, Alex.
And we've got Bill Maher famously always saying, I want more abortion. I want suicide. I want death. I want less people on the highway. Idiot. Millions of people in megacities build the infrastructure for the highways, for the golf courses, moron. You're a moron. Boom cities are booms because they're booms. And I explain this. You can go 100 miles in most area of the ocean before you hit a reef area, the proper sun, shallow enough, and you'll have more biodiversity in just a few square miles than you have in hundreds of square miles. Do the fish go, man, this reef's really crowded? No, they're like, this is where all the food's at, man. Bill Maher flies over L.A. and goes, God, I hate all these people. And yeah, they're a bunch of miserable followers of you.
Well, Bill Maher, I actually appreciate Bill Maher showing the true face of the American left right now that wants to collapse the economy.
What do I tell you? They hate you. They want to abort you. They want your money. They're devil worshipers. It doesn't matter if he gets into a red pajamas at night, which he probably does, actually. Most of them do in L.A. But his spirit is satanic. It's win-loser mentality. We are non-zero-sum game. We are 360 win.
Well, and then you see not just what he says about wanting to collapse the economy, but the lies, the misrepresentation, how he attacks you. I mean, it's just totally classless. It's uncouth.
The guy's a total fraud reading on teleprompter. And the reason I say that is he's such a joke. He's such a coward. Now, since I said it, let's go ahead and play Why They Hate Us. Remember, this is why they hate us. If you're a radio listener, it's powerful, but not as powerful as you're a TV viewer. You can actually see the crying and everything. Here was election night a year and a half ago.
Talking to some of my colleagues at Trump Tower just a few minutes ago, there's a little optimism here.
No one thought it was going to be this close at this point. Trump can still win this thing.
We have another state to project it as the state of North Carolina, big battleground state. It's going to Donald Trump.
I was actually ready to go to bed, and then I started seeing the Electoral College come in, and I'm like super psyched.
This is going to be a very close election.
I'm seeing these late-breaking trends. This could hand Trump the presidency. Folks, this is not by any means over.
I think there's some real jitters setting in Clinton headquarters right now.
Wolf, the scene here is so different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed.
This is most unexpected.
Certainly is a huge, huge surprise to so many people out there.
I think we all thought it couldn't happen, that he couldn't do what he did, and guess what? He may just do it.
Donald Trump has taken the lead. He has 216 electoral votes.
This is truly the beginning of the end.
He's pulling ahead of Hillary Clinton. You see it right there.
They couldn't get Trump, and now they got Trump. What do we do?
Oh, it's Megyn Kelly. We run things.
Notice how where Megyn Kelly is today. Nowhere.
How do I explain this to my children? I have Muslim friends
down the Serpide.
who are texting me tonight.
Megyn who?
Saying, should I leave the country?
Megyn, America is crying tonight. I'm not sure how much of America, but a very, very significant portion, and I mean literally crying.
Hillary Clinton has telephoned Donald Trump to turn and
Champagne glasses. Ching.
Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.
The ambassador deplorables has arrived.
People have talked about a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare.
This is your life now. This is us. This is our country.
It's a miracle. We saved America.
And now it's reverse everything because the globalists are austerity-based. They say you can't have cars, you can't have air conditioners, you got to be poor. They say we want to make you poor for the betterment of the earth, but they're all going to be filthy rich and tax exempt. Again, now, let's play this Bill Maher clip because you just can't play this enough, where he says, I want a crashing economy. This is a man reportedly worth, and I don't know if that celebrity net worth site's right, because it says I'm worth $10 million, and that's about 5 times what I'm worth, which I'm not trying to just be worth money. I put it back in the operation. We got a little bit of money, to help fight lawsuits or whatever, stored up as an emergency nest egg that could run things for a few months. My goal is to change the world. My currency is ideas. So I don't know if it's right, but I know his contract's like $10 million a year. He's reportedly worth $100 million. And he says, I'm sorry, I know it's going to hurt, but we really, 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 really need to crash the economy to hurt Trump. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
Can I ask about the economy? Because this economy is going pretty well. We have to, what? Why is that funny?
It is going well for now.
For now, right. That's my question. Is like, I feel like the bottom has to fall out at some point. And by the way, I'm hoping for it because I think one way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy. Yeah. So please, bring on the recession. Yeah. Sorry if that hurts people.
Sorry if it hurts some people. Yeah, because you'll weather it real fine with $100 million.
No, that's the key right there. That is the arrogance. That is the mindset of a Bill Maher, where he knows, I'll be fine. And all the, the poor people that I claim to speak up for, they might have to go through some serious troubles if there was a, collapse of the economy, which I'm cheering on. But good, it'll show those Trump supporters, it'll show Trump, it'll show the world that we're the good guys that crashed the economy and wanted nuclear war. Don't you see? We're the good guys.
And it's the same Democrats suing us to shut us down. I want to hire a bunch of people. I want to give people like Owen a raise. I want to be able to have affiliates all over the world. I want to build new websites, more films, but we need a lot of money to do it and be able to operate, ladies and gentlemen, because we're into our reserves right now. Infowarsstore.com. It's the last few days to get free shipping on all our best-selling items. If you haven't tried X2, even though we're running out of it, I'm hoping to get more of the deep earth source of it. It's amazing, good halogen. It's 50% off to get those of you off the fence that have never tried the good halogen and learn why they put fluoride in the water, trying to counteract the natural iodine you get. Iodine is essential. 50% off right now. Infowarsstore.com. Now, earlier, I played a clip, I'm going to play a short clip of it now, of why the Democrats hate Trump and hate me and hate you so much. Because your victory, if you're straight and strong and good and honorable, these criminals don't like you. And the realization that they are mentally ill, control freaks, virtue signalers at the lowest level and social engineer control freaks at the top, once you have that realization, there's no going back, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the crazy thing Democrats have to understand. They could destroy Trump. You're not going to reverse the change in the ideas that have come. You're not going to reverse nationalism and populism spreading all over the world, like I told you. Once you ignite the fires of liberty, they're unstoppable in this phase. We hit the bottom of the decadence curve. And now the liberty cycle is reigniting. We're entering the beginning of the cycle. At the end of the cycle, we're in that no man's land right now. And they won't be able to ever reverse that. Now, things are going to get bloody. They're going to get crazy in many levels. The enemy's going to keep pushing and pushing. They're going to get more vitriolic, more insane, more negative, more bizarre. But we have to understand that we're going to stay the course, and the stronger and more focused and undaunted we are, the more dauntless we are, the more invincible we are. And it's that simple. But this is why they hate us. And if the Democrats symbolically think destroying me will resurrect them, that's great news. That's their main 2020 re-election operation, is to have Sandy Hook lawsuits going. It's come out, they admit it in newspapers, to try to have it timed to have jury trials going against me during the 2020 election in about a year and a half to make Trump look bad. How is that going to fly with how they twist things and lie and deceive in the media and the Democrats using the poor families? How is that going to fly when you've got the peace deals, the economy coming back, and getting rid of minimum sentencing that targets black people and all these positive things and taking care of the VA? How is that going to work? Let's go out to break with why they hate us. Just a few seconds of us cheering those glasses together. Here's why they hate us. That's what they don't like, ladies and gentlemen. They don't like our winning. We'll be right back on the other side. All right, Dr. Shiva is running against the fake Indian. The real Indian's running against her. They've been demonizing, trying to ban his free speech. He's coming up next segment. He's got exclusive breaking news for us. He'll ride shotgun covering the waterfront for 45 minutes of the hour. We're going to break here in about 8 minutes. Before I go any further, there's a lot of news here that I haven't gotten to. And you've got the AG report coming out, and Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch reportedly has already seen it, and it's what we thought. It's a whitewash, but it's still a devastating whitewash. Because you can paint a big old, steaming pile of manure white. It's still stinking pile of manure. And the whitewash ain't working. And so we pretty much, even CNN is acting like they've already got a pre-copy of it, saying, okay, it shows they told witnesses what was coming up with Congress, and they told people who was going to be subpoenaed, and they told people what was happening, and they did a fake investigation of Hillary. It's bombshell, but it kind of couches it in placid terms. So we're going to be looking at that as soon as it comes out in T-minus 52 minutes. And Roger Stone will be back in here with me as soon as it comes out. We'll read the report here on air in the 4th hour. So that's coming up. But if you want to know why they really hate the American people and hate Trump, Trump was never supposed to get into office. They tried to cover up their illegal spying on Trump, turning it into Russiagate, when they were actually trying to plant Russia stuff on him, but really just using the fake Russia stuff that they'd made up to spy on the campaign. So now they're being hoisted on their own spear. And now the IG report is out. They said it would come out at 3 o'clock Eastern, that'd be 2 o'clock Central, but it just came out. So there it is, boom. So an hour early. So go ahead and print that off for me. So we'll cover oversight, integrity, guidance. Well, the Office of the Inspector General has been showing more of the integrity than we've seen from Rosenstein and McCabe and these people. I mean, it's unbelievable. So that's all coming up. In fact, guys, let's post that to Infowars.com. Have Don Salazar, Kit, or one of the other, Mr. McBreen. McBreen's son works here. I normally don't have people's kids work in the building, but so many of them are so good. Like Travis Knight's so awesome. He works here. David Knight's his dad. And Kellen McBreen works here, one of the guys. When you get him to post that, or whoever can post it, Infowars.com. But we'll see exactly what all is in there, though people have already seen it and basically broke it down. Also, NHS picking up the pieces of mental illness epidemic caused by social media. London Telegraph, how many years ago did we tell you that? It's designed to make you mentally ill. We're going to break it all down. But I thought I would play this because they hate it. Remember, it's all confirmed. You've got Clapper and Brennan on TV saying, okay, we spied on Trump. But it's for his own good. And you've got Bill Maher saying, we didn't spy on you. We just surveilled you because you're a damn Russian. Remember, that was a week ago. So they're really having to spin all this after all these years saying we're insane. Well, the truth is, Clapper and Brennan and Schumer shot their mouths off and said, we've got intelligence on Trump. He will never even get inaugurated. He's out of here. So now the Hill can report what we told you 2 years ago. Latest scandal revelations raise questions on Obama agencies' roles. Yeah, we told you Trump was being spied on before it was even before he was even elected. Because we have the information, we have the research, we are ahead of the curve. That's what we do. We set the agenda. We're history's actors now. We want the people to be history's actors. Leaky, sneaky, and freaky. One's a Wahhabist. The other two are just total lying, obfuscating, arrogant. I mean, take Brennan telling Trump 2 days before he is inaugurated, watch your mouth on CNN. The head of the CIA, and then when Trump fired him 3 days later, he said, I can't believe I've been fired. You're a megalomaniac, delusional fruitcake. I've had a few former crew members that over the years got arrogant or whatever, and like I say they're fired. They're like, you can't fire me. This isn't really happening. I'm like, listen, don't let the door hit you on your old rear end. It's the same. Or you've ever had like one of your teenagers? I got pretty good kids, but sometimes they get a little smart mouth. They're like, you're not going to really not let me go to that concert. You're not going to really not let me go to my friend's house for the movies. And I'm like, yeah, get your butt in your room. And the next day they apologize. But those are children. These are adults doing this. So here's why they hate us, ladies and gentlemen, because we're right. They have egg all over their face on every front. Here it is.
And now, Republicans, you're the Alex Jones party. There is literally nothing too stupid and conspiratorial that you will not swallow.
Some tweeted, terrible, just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. And the other one, how low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process?
And this weekend we saw another example of that when White House counselor Kellyanne Conway was asked if she had any proof for Trump's outlandish claim that Obama wiretapped him during the campaign, and offered this bizarre answer.
How does he know that his phone was actually tapped?
Let me answer that globally. He's the president of the United States. He has information and intelligence that the rest of us do not.
He's suggesting a U.S. president enlisted a foreign intelligence service to spy on a political adversary. That is an explosive charge.
This is a serious allegation. This might be the most serious allegation any president has made against a previous president.
But this is a very serious allegation for a sitting president to make about his predecessor.
The craziest thing about Trump calling for an investigation without any evidence, zero evidence. Trump has not produced a shred of evidence.
There is no evidence for Trump's claims.
The evidence did not come.
So where did Trump get his info? From the CIA? From the FBI?
Where are you getting this information?
From a very reputable source.
What, the FBI, the CIA?
Infowars. It's a radio show hosted by Alex Jones. You know he's legit.
This bizarre circular thing happening where the president cites a theory that he was wiretapped, which developed on the kind of fringe right-wing media. And then after his tweet storm, Infowars then started saying, well, look, it was the New York Times that reported it, citing our story, misreading our story. And now, a few weeks later, the White House and the president are citing Infowars. So they've got one kind of bizarre right-wing fringe theory to defend another bizarre right-wing fringe theory.
The crazier it gets, the more they like it. That's their jam.
No, we're not under your mind control. See, if I was stormtroopers and Obi-Wan Kenobi and the droids came by and they're the exact ones I'm looking for, and he says these aren't the droids you're looking for, I blast him. See, that didn't work on me. I'm like Jabba the Hutt. Jedi mind tricks don't work on me. Ho, 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 teeny Jedi. They were all over the news salivating to their criminals in government going, don't worry, Trump will never get in. We were spying on him, and Obama is delivering all the data to other agencies to stay behind and stop him even if he gets in. And I'm like, my God, they're admitting. Yeah, back that up. Let's go to break with this. They admitted my source is them. And then they try this game of, well, you didn't really see the cover of the New York Times that said that, though it did. Here. Let's go out to break. Here it is.
Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
Oh, really? We're back live. Coming up the next hour, we've got the full AG report. It's posted to newswars.com and Infowars.com. And it is a doozy. We're scanning over it. It had already been leaked out to Judicial Watch and CNN. And we're going to be going over all of it. And it's pretty much what we thought it was going to be. But it's bombshell, but it's couched in basically sophistic terms. And we'll get more into it later in the hour as well. But Comey's actions in the Clinton case departed clearly and dramatically from FBI and department norms. That's a nice way of saying it was illegal and colluded and hurt the perception of the FBI. But they weren't the result of political bias. Total horse manure. Specifically, it was not Comey's job to publicly proclaim what a reasonable prosecutor should do in the Clinton case. Attached between a fair having FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page did have political bias, but the AG found no evidence that improper considerations affected their investigative actions. That's right. They're all just getting paid by their bosses to set up the whole fake report and do all that. And it just goes on from there. So these are all just the whitewashes going on. But more is coming out, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Dr. Shiba is a scientist, inventor of email. He's got the title of that, literally. He's the guy who came up with the term email and codified it into that system. And he is running against Elizabeth Warren, who will not do the genetic test, who the tribes say she has no connection to in Oklahoma or other areas. But he's a real Indian from the subcontinent, India. But he's a great patriot. I'd love to get him into the U.S. Senate. But regardless, he is reaching tens of millions of people in the interviews he's doing and what he's doing. But, boy, they've been censoring him, saying he can't put up his political signs, even if he pays for it. It's getting crazy. So we're part of the 34-hour broadcast right now going to him to cover what he's been doing, what's been happening, but then expanding. He's a smart guy on some great technology ideas he has. And then the blue wave turning into a blue backwash of toilet bowl cleaner. And then you've got the red tsunami now with all these anti-Trump Republicans being swept out of office in special elections. So we're going to look at all that. What are they going to do if the trend since the Civil War that when a Republican has the presidency after his first 2 years, the Democrats take control of the House or Senate or both, because all the evidence is pointing towards that not happening. But remember, they got an old ace up the sleeve and a couple other cards, five or six aces. So they're going to try to steal the election, as they've already done. But Dr. Shiba Ayyadurai, thanks for joining us with some big breaking exclusive news.
Yeah, great to be here, Alex. I think I may just hit my camera. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's good to see your smiling face there. Where do you want to start? The blue wave turning into a fizzle, your big announcement, the censorship you're facing, North Korea. There's so much to cover.
We can start anywhere because they're all interconnected, right? You touch one part, it connects to everything else. Maybe we should just start with the free speech thing, Alex.
Yes.
Because that's where we left off last time. Last time we were on, Alex, we shared with you and your audience that, we got this big sign out here. You may see it, only the real Indian can defeat the fake Indian. It's a very powerful meme, Alex, and I want to really explain why it's so powerful and why we put it out there, because it really is an expression of not only my anger, but pretty much everyone's anger at the corruption that is taking place in government. And Elizabeth Warren is a face of that corruption. So when we put that signage up on our bus, the city of Cambridge, which is supposed to be the most liberal haven on the planet, said we had to take it down. That was on April 5th, 2018. We didn't do that. In fact, we retaliated hard and we sued them took them to federal court, and we won. They surrendered completely. And, then based on that, we dismissed the court case. Obviously, the mainstream media did not want to cover our victory. So what we realized, Alex, the big news is this, and this is something that's really, really important. You see, for far too long, the establishment has made politics essentially an audience sport, right? They do not want the everyday citizen to actually be involved in that aspect, right? Because they don't want to give power.
They don't
back
want
to
people in the arena.
They don't want people in the arena. They want to make it the old Hollywood celebrity culture. You put a couple of people on pedestals, and we're supposed to watch them and eat our popcorn. So what we've done here, Alex, is that's becoming really powerful, is we've figured out the victory to winning. And that aha moment came, every time we take the bus out, Alex, people just love our campaign. You guys can see, I think, several months ago in the St. Patrick's Day parade, millions saw us, millions of people are cheering us on. We went to the Bunker Hill Day parade recently with the bus. And what happened was, this is a enclave of both quote unquote liberals and working class people. Unanimously, except for probably 5% of the people loved that slogan. I mean, talk about market focus groups. And what we realized was, people say, you know what, you guys have a lot of courage to put that out there, because you're bringing out something in Massachusetts that people do not want to talk about. So the bus is essentially it's weaponized. It's a weaponized way of getting across our message. So what we've done is, if you see these magnetic signs here, they're really easy. So we want to replicate this all over the state, Alex. In fact, all over the country. And basically, people can buy these magnetic signs. You can see, as you're showing, being put on. And where, since we launched it, we have, tons of people starting to write and wanting these. And why is that? And the reality is, when Elizabeth Warren, it's not about identity, right? The liberals want to convert it to a race issue, but it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with integrity. We're talking about someone who did not work hard, who cut in line. You, me, Alex, and pretty much every American watching your show works for a living. I mowed lawns as a kid, learned to engineer software as a kid, as a 14-year-old kid, have been working all my life. But Elizabeth Warren cut in front of line, and they do not want to discuss that. They will, the 1 out of 100 who do not like our signage are the vocal minority of what I call white liberal racists, or liberal racists right now. It's
exactly. And we'll talk about this more when we come back, because this is so important. It's like Rachel Dolezal saying she's African-American when she doesn't have one drop of black blood in her. She goes and puts creams on, frizzes her hair out, makes her kid look like the kid's black. These people are sick, because they're the ones pushing this whole really a new caste system, where if you're one of these protected groups, you're better than everybody. So I want to specifically talk about that. But yeah, Warren is a fraud. Please continue.
Yes. So we are bringing up not just a race issue, because for far too long, down the street is Harvard University, the white liberal racists who want us to keep us all on their reservation and plantation have bounded the discussion of race, Alex, and they don't know what to do with us. Because when we bring up that sign, they'll say, oh, that's racist. We'll say, really? And we'll flip it back and we say, look, you're the racist because you're supporting a woman who took advantage of race to get in, and when she's not of that race. So it's an amazing discussion, Alex, and we should come back. But the important thing is, we should talk about this. The big announcement is, here's an opportunity for every citizen.
We're going to talk about the big announcement straight ahead, because you got me thinking your announcement is so smart that I've got an angle on this. When we come back with Dr. Shiva, stay with us. Well, stand up and be counted for what you're about to receive. We are the dealers. We'll give you everything you need. Hang on to the good times. Dr. Shiva's our guest. Great guy, running for Senate. Got a shot at winning. And Elizabeth Warren, really a smart engineer, very successful businessman, inventor of email. Look it up. It's true. It's crazy. FBI agent Strzok reportedly texted, "Will stop Trump from becoming president." Wow. And he's working for that special group under McCabe and Comey, dedicated to fixing the intelligence. This is back in 2015, 2016, spying on him to keep him from becoming president. That's a quote in the report. It's up on newswars.com, Infowars.com. Comey broke from FBI procedures and Clinton probe. So I've scanned over this, and so is Judicial Watch and others, and they're saying the tone is very wishy-washy, and Comey didn't do anything illegal, but they did collude, and Comey did use his private server, and Strzok did it, and they were trying to keep Trump from getting into office. So they're basically admitting a lot of the horrible things that went on, but then saying, oh, that's not illegal. Well, that sounds kind of criminal to me, that they're putting out a report sitting in judgment like they're a jury, when clearly FBI folks under the Democrats, all 13 of them Democrats, launching these type of operations to try to keep the now president from being elected. It just proves everything, regardless of the criminality, and it's all there. So next hour, we're going through this with Roger Stone in studio. We are now, 6, 7, 8 hours into the 34-hour global broadcast we're doing. Fall the deep state. Oh, by the way, it's President Trump's. Should have just called this when I picked this date, because the AG report was coming out to do a 34-hour broadcast from 8 a.m. right through to the next day at 6 p.m. And we go live 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. We're expanding the broadcast. We're trying to work out new hosts and hiring and the funding for that right now. But the fall of the deep state, and happy birthday, Mr. President. We're not going to sing him happy birthday like Marilyn Monroe. And I hate to gush because I'm not into celebrities and stuff. It's very freeing to not care about celebrities or Hollywood or status just for status sake. But Trump delivering on so many fronts is really almost messianic at this point. But it shows how bad the globalists were, trying to make us poor, trying to divide us, trying to control us. It's in all the WikiLeaks. It's just, they were evil. So it's like if you went to somebody's house and they were feeding you dog food with, warm water on it, and then you went to a nice restaurant, you're like, my God, why are these enchiladas, or why is this lasagna so delicious? Well, because you've been eating dog food. I mean, yeah, Trump's a great chef, got a lot of courage, got a lot done, but he's just reversing set garbage. From a very optimistic research perspective of a real go-getter, and proving it with pleasure as a businessman like Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. So Dr. Shiva, you've got a big announcement. It's very exciting. I've talked about this. You put an Infowars sticker on your car in conservative or libertarian areas, you're probably going to get high fives all day. But you do it in a blue state area like Austin, Texas, or LA, or San Francisco, you might get your car keyed. That's why we sell T-shirts. They're just Molon Labe. Leftists can't hardly speak English. They don't know what Latin is. Come and take it. So we have T-shirts that are safe to wear, where only patriots identify with you. And it's a great way to get the word out. But if you wear an Infowars shirt or a Pinch 2020, one of my, without me even asking her to, one of my oldest daughter, one of her friends went with us on the trip. They were both walking around wearing Trump 2020 shirts that weren't even from InfoWarsStore.com. They got them somewhere else. That's the cool thing to do at their high school. One of them goes to public school, the other goes to private. My daughter does, but her friend goes to public school. That's the big rage, even in Austin with the young people, is to be pro-Trump, because that, their parents are the old weird liberals. We're not bashing old people, but this idea that liberals are the young, avant-garde, Rolling Stones so hip, the Oscars are so hip. It's watching paint dry. Open your wrist, folks. So it's Generation Z is super libertarian. They're not conservative. They're just counterculture. So we'll get more to the AG report with you in the next segment. But right now, the big announcement, because I've actually said this a few months ago and I haven't got around to doing it. We're going to design small, medium, and large magnet decals like you've done, so you can put it on the side of your car, reach 1,000 people when you go to work in a major city, small town, 100, whatever, and then just take it off when you get to work or wherever, throw it in your vehicle, and then that way you have the cake and eat it too. Well, you've got a plan to bypass them and defeat her. And I think and I know we've got tens of thousands of listeners in Massachusetts conservatively listening. Obviously, over the years, millions have tuned in that great state. We've had a few affiliates there. Everyone listening, this plan you have is excellent to put this magnetized decal that doesn't do anything to your paint, comes right off easily. Tell folks about your big plan. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah. So basically the idea is, people want to participate. The establishment always wants to make people be onlookers. That's part of the establishment goal. And so it's always a little bit of hesitancy to go interact. For example, when we go out to parades and we distribute cards, Alex, and we get our first set of volunteers, they're always a little bit shy. And then they get this connection with people. People look at them in the eye. People start conversing. And that's when we get back to being human beings again. So the goal here is we want to have about 10,000 people on the ground. Your car is an amazing opportunity to advertise, right? It's just a wonderful opportunity. You put these magnetic signs on. Like you said, they can come off, come on. But you start a dialogue. When people drive around with these magnetic signs, people will honk, people pull over, we give them cards, but you start having discourse. And the vocal minority who start yelling or screaming at it, it's a great opportunity to have another discourse and really talk about politics, which the establishment doesn't want us to do.
Because
right?
these are bullies shutting speech down on the internet, on the colleges, the high schools, and just exercising it is a revolutionary act. Telling the truth in a world of universal deceit is a revolutionary act, to paraphrase Eric Blair, a.k.a. George Orwell. Exactly. It is an act of resistance.
It's an act of resistance, but more importantly, to have a dialogue. So, when Sunday was a Bunker Hill Day parade. That's when the American Revolution, after the shot in Lexington was shot, really took off. And here we went there, 50,000 people. And before we were going there, Alex, we had to take our bus through Harvard Square, right in front of Harvard Law School, where Elizabeth Warren used to hold her professorship. And this Harvard Law student comes out and starts yelling at us, saying, "That's racist." And I turn around and say, "What are you talking about? That's racist." I said, "You're the racist because you're condoning Elizabeth Warren, who took advantage of race." And I said, furthermore, I said, you have put a bound on what racism is. If I do or if I do not use the N-word, or if I change the name of some building, then I'm not a racist. I said, you guys are the racists.
That's right. They use race to control, just like all racists have always done, to change the subject. You got poor white sharecroppers versus black slaves playing against each other. It's the same story of divide and conquer over and over again.
Yeah, and what's interesting is when we put this out, we had some guy come onto my Twitter feed and say, you are a Curry Indian. I don't know if I can use the N-word here. Can I, Alex, on your show? Probably not, right?
Yeah, no, let's not do it.
Okay. Well, he said you're a Curry Indian N. Okay. So I responded back on Twitter, and you can see it because it was a response. And I said, let me be accurate. We're all, N's on the deep state, on the white liberal deep state reservation, which went viral. My point is, a person of my background who's been an American, who's worked hard and who's struggled, has a unique opportunity, and all of us should take advantage of the fact that I'm running to really expand the discussion of race and realize that it's the deep state which wants to pit poor whites against poor blacks. They thrive on race war. So putting this on is not about race, but it's really about integrity. And it really goes.
That's right. And they think they own the whole race debate to promulgate it, to make it worse. Then they're the high priest that program what is racist, what isn't, actually covering up real inequity and real problems. So here's the big call to action. How do folks, even if they're not in Massachusetts, how do they get one of these babies?
It's very easy. You just go to shiverforsenate.com. You can find it right there. It's called a Road Warrior Kit. Go to the store, get the Road Warrior Kit. We've made it. You get 2 magnetic stickers, you get a lawn sign, you get 2 bumper stickers.
Oh, my God. You got to call this Operation Road Warrior. Is that what you're calling it?
That's what I call it. It's called Road Warrior. Be a Road Warrior. That's getting back. So if you can't come to and pass out cards, you can't do anything, you got family. Well,
hey, I'm fully supporting this, but I am still in the idea. We're going to launch Operation Road Warrior with our stuff, too. Coming up in the next hour, it's going to be Doug Hagman, who's a great crime expert, getting into the AG report. And then the hour after that, when they get off the war room, Roger Stone gets into it. But it's bad. It's what we already knew. But more emails, more text messages. Comey using his own private email, giving people advance warning they were going to be called to testify, but trying to fix evidence. FBI agent Strzok reportedly texted, "We'll stop Trump from becoming president." That's all being reported. It's on newswars.com. and Infowars.com, along with the AG report, if you want to go try to read the 500 pages for yourself. We're talking to Dr. Sheba, running for Senate in Massachusetts against the fake Native American Elizabeth Warren, a.k.a. Pocahontas. Continuing, ladies and gentlemen, though, we're 3 hours into this broadcast almost, and I'm barely plugged. We're doing a 34-hour broadcast to cover all the big news, to expand what we're doing, to get some of the new crew trained. We're going to start adding more shows here very soon. That takes money. And I'm discounting a lot of our products so much because when I go really, really low on these products, people that hadn't tried them try them, then they become customers because they like them. They love them. Infowarsstore.com. We have had for a couple weeks free shipping on a bunch of our best-selling items, more than 20 items. And that has got to end this weekend. So it will end on Monday. A lot of these specials have to end regardless because we're running low on X-Tube, 50% off the good halogen, deep earth crystal source. It's amazing. Find out about the iodine conspiracy, folks. X2, 50% off with free shipping. That is close to a loss leader. Sign up for auto ship, additional 10% off. There's 5% on each order that goes in your account on InfoWarsStore.com. Patriot points, it just goes on and on. All orders $50 or more have free shipping, but more than 20 items, even some of them are like $14, like Loyal Silver, they have free shipping as well. The Real Red Pill Plus, now with energy. We have the original Red Pill and Red Pill Plus that has the energy as well. Silver Bullet, Loyal Silver, 50% off. They sell the same stuff at Whole Foods for $25. At $14, you can't get a better deal. It's really good. Alpha Power is really something people should try. Very concentrated. It's got energy, stamina, focus, libido. It's everything. It's really strong though. So word to the wise. Super Male, Super Female Vitality is amazing. It's a similar formula, but cold pressed. Not as strong at, the ratio of how much of it's in there, but it's cold pressed, so it's a different animal. That's amazing. DNA Force, it's all 50% off, folks. That's a big deal. PQQ, Bio, CoQ10, all of it. You really cannot find a formula better at this price. It's DNA Force Plus now with more in each bottle and a lower price. Because we signed a big contract to guarantee buy a ton of it. So other leading brands are $200, $300, $400. They have 7 times markup for PQQ, Bio, PQQ, CoQ10, all of it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is $74.95. It's a flagship product, and it supports the broadcast. But you and your family really need to check it out. Nerve growth factor. It doesn't make telomeres grow. It makes them not shrink as fast, which is the same thing. It's potato, half full, half empty. Immune Wall, 50% off. It's amazing. Pollen Block, proprietary. Got to try that. InfoWarsStore.com. Go read the reviews. There's a few of them. Brain Force Plus. I take supplement daily for a year and a half now. Amazing mental and focus all day. Reduce my office intake to 1 cup of coffee a day. That's a reviewer, Dean, an undisclosed location. DNA Force Plus. This is the real game changer. I got much more energy and my mind is much clearer. My vision is much clearer. Everything feels like brand new. Each and every one of my cells are much more efficient and I can feel it. Flora Life review. That reviews Marino out of Montreal, Canada. This is Marcia in Michigan. 5-star review. There's tens of thousands of these on Power Reviews. The product is very effective and very gentle at the same time. That's a probiotic for life, high quality. I have used various probiotics before throughout the years, but these are by far the most effective and gentle. I saw immediate results in receiving abdominal discomfort and non-bloating. Stop bloating. I took it along with Carnivore. That's an enzyme we've got for helping digest meat. And they both work like a charm. Thank you, Infowars. And it just goes on and on. Go read about Silver Bullet. Go read about Immune Wall. They've done a really great job printing me some of these because there's so many of these reviews. But go read them for yourself, and I appreciate all the reviews, your support. It flies in the face of the censorship, the attacks, everything they're doing. During the 34-hour broadcast, please commit to financially support us because I am having to look at trying to hire more talk show hosts, more people to run the board, more investigative journalists, having to expand our legal, obviously. The Democrat plan to misrepresent what I've said and done on a bunch of issues and sue me 7 ways to Sunday. The good news is they've now sued me 20 times, and we've gotten 10 of them kicked out. But we got some of the bigger torpedoes heading down the pike towards us, so we need to be flooded with cash in the information war. That'll allow us to, because they want to push us back. We got to expand. There is no stay at one size. It's expand or be crushed. We will expand. We will fight. We will win. With your support, your prayers. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. Okay, going back to Dr. Shiva Idurai, amazing scientist, inventor of email, expert on exposing GMO, his laboratories. He really is a great businessman like Donald Trump we need, but also a scientist. Getting into your Operation Road Warrior and how folks can do that. And just, then I want to get into this blue wave turning into, again, blue backwash, like toilet bowl cleaner. And now what looks like a red tsunami, all these Trump enemies, even Republicans losing in special elections, this neocon governor, all of them. I mean, this has got to really scare the globalist.
Yeah, I mean, look, Alex, a big thing is, Donald Trump is fundamentally a guy who went after the deep state as an anti-establishment. In Massachusetts, you have a very interesting thing, and I tweeted this out earlier. You have Charlie Baker, who's a Republican governor. It is a great picture I put up of him taking a selfie with Elizabeth Warren. And this guy told people not to vote for Trump. Remember, a Republican. And you have the other 3 Republican candidates who are running. One of them who got the endorsement of the Republican Party, which we've talked about, this guy Dirty Deal, who photoshopped a picture of himself handshaking with Trump, and who also endorsed Charlie Baker. So that's what you have going on. What you have going on now is that the Massachusetts Republicans and the sewer here wants to suck back all the Trump loyalists, a lot of them who are independents. By the way, and from our analysis, only 50% of the Republicans actually voted for Trump in Massachusetts. The 1 million votes who came, 800,000 were independents, Alex.
And let's be clear, you're absolutely right. More and more Democrats are acting like they're Trump people to then beat Republicans, but some Republicans are getting smart who are actually anti-Trump and now acting like they're pro-Trump, but again, they're hoping we don't have a memory.
Exactly. So they're fake Trumpers. So you have the Trump loyalists who are basically anti-establishment people against the deep state. They got it. Then you have the fake Trumpers and you have the never Trumpers. The more insidious ones are the fake Trumpers, right? Because it's hard to spot the never Trumpers. So the reason I dumped the Republican Party is because they're part of the deep state. I mean, we're completely support the president, particularly all of the stuff that he's done against the establishment and all the great things he's been doing to deliver on his promises. So the opportunity in Massachusetts is to really go back to our roots and say, let's declare our independence. To hell with both of these establishment parties. I'm not talking about the people on the ground who may call themselves, quote unquote, Democrats and Republicans, because I think we offer an opportunity for people to really start discussing vital issues like you do on your show, Alex, that are being brought up. And that's why this road warrior thing is so phenomenal, because it lets people be participants. But more importantly, it's really allowing people in Massachusetts to say, wait a minute, you're calling Elizabeth Warren a racist? I go, yeah. And then it says, what does that mean? Well, that means Harvard, where she is settled, and MIT in many ways, even though I went to MIT. If you look at the 2 major universities here, they're basically the 2 foci of the deep state. If you go to the center of where MIT and Harvard are.
No, that's right. You're engaging in a frontal assault on the deep state white shoe boys that just think they own this world. ShivaForSenate.com. People have got to go there because they're so triggered. They tried to ban, people just joined us, they tried to ban your posters. They tried to ban your bus. Outrageous authoritarians expanding their anti-free speech zones all over the state. You're going to cram it down their throat with these magnets on doors. It's up to the people. The ball's in their court.
Yeah, so Alex, one of the important points I want to make is if you go into Kendall Square, which is down the street from here, and if you look in 100-yard one way, you'll see Monsanto. The other 100-yard, you'll see Facebook. The other 100 yards, you'll see Google. You'll see the 5 major pharma companies. And then you'll see the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. So what I am sitting in, and everyone needs to understand this, is the epicenter of the deep state. So if someone wants to know a geographical location, I would assert that it's Cambridge, Massachusetts.
I totally agree with you.
Harvard.
That is absolutely, because that's where they train. It's an intelligence operation. They're basically spies.
Exactly.
British intelligence, Austrian-Hungarian Empire intelligence came in and set up Skull and Bones, all that at Yale, Harvard, you name it. And then they use that. It's not even the Germans or Brits running it today, but it's those networks, those foreign intelligence networks that are now controlled by corporations that run these operations. They gave the Chinese communists, the Office of Personnel Management hack, their enemies. Hey, folks, I have been so busy the last 3 weeks and then taking off 8 days with my children. But I worked on vacation, obviously, because you can't pull me away. This didn't work. This is vital. This is history. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. That we were going to launch a website with a legal defense fund and also promote Roger Stone, who's here for that, and promote a legal defense fund for him because I know his finances. They're trying to bankrupt him. I don't want to get into the details, but let's just say he's upside down. With the president's group suing him, the government suing him, the Democratic Party suing him. He just won a defamation case they brought against him in New York with a jury trial. That still cost him hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not going to tell you the number. Let's just say hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Not a million, but I mean, you actually want to beat these lies, folks. It takes money. And people are like, okay, yeah, right. I mean, we're talking a lot of money. Okay, so if you want Soros to knock us off, don't support us, because that's where we are. Soros and Democrats are openly saying they're going to destroy us and take us off air. That is their stated goal, just like they told Shiva, Dr. Shiva running for Senate there in Massachusetts, there at Harvard. No, you can't have a bus parked in front of your office on legal parking area. You can't have it. It's racist. And then he has professors running out screaming, "You're a racist." Elizabeth Warren is a virtue signaling. It's so racist of Dozell. What's the lady who says she's black and she's not? That they're so obsessed with race, they pose as something they're not, so they can tell us we're racist. And I don't want to bash white people, okay? But it's white liberals that are the high priest of this, as Dr. Shiva was saying. And it's bizarre. And they've got talk show hosts on CNN that aren't black, that look just like Dozell. I mean, I will say that look for her is better. I like tan women. I like curly hair. I like it all. I mean, I think she looks better like that, because she's not a little girl anymore. But I mean, okay, she got some bronzer on. She's got her hair kinked, whatever. I mean, lady, if you want to look like that, that's fine. Just don't say you're black. And so here he is exposing the Senator Pocahontas, and that is what. So spend some time. Ugh, she doesn't look like she's black there. She looks like Medusa. If you're a TV viewer, you can see it. But let's get that off screen, please. She's not aging well. She looked better a few years ago. I don't want to get how women look. That's mean, but she looks like Medusa. In the few minutes we have left, just recapping, you're right. This is the elitism of Harvard. This is the race pimping culture they are.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is this, Alex. People naturally want to work together, in my view, right? And when
there's resources and we have shared goals, people don't even look at what color somebody is. I don't even look at what color you are. I look at your politics and the fact that you have a track record as a businessman. I know I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
Right. And what have you actually done, right? Do you get up? Do you have skills? Do you know how to work? Do you know how to put a company together? Do you know how to build something? This is what America was made up. It was made up of hardworking people who had vision, innovation, entrepreneurship. A lawyer, lobbyist like Elizabeth Warren or any of these career politicians are all basically parasites. They have no skills, and that was never the intent of the founders. And
what's Congress? I'm going to hold you over as I interrupted, but 90% is lawyers or something? We need 90% being engineers and scientists.
Yeah, one scientist. Rand Paul's an ophthalmologist. You got Thomas Massey, who's an MIT engineer also. But fundamentally, most of these guys know nothing. And if you look at how much money they raise, Elizabeth Warren's going to raise $100 million. 95% of it goes to her flunkies, and then a little bit goes into TV advertising, et cetera. So what we're saying is, let's do something very innovative. When we put this sign up on our car, we're taking our own government back, because it's saying, I'm not going to spend a lot of money. I'm going to be an activist. I'm going to be a road warrior. But more importantly, we're taking back our power. And that's what we need to do. We need to take this country back. And that's what our campaign is about.
And it's $25. That's a couple of the magnets and a couple of bumper stickers.
And shipping included. Everything's included. But most importantly,
stay there. We're back in 60 seconds. I just want to briefly ask you, the Doug Adams taking over on the AG report. I want to ask you this quick question, Dr. Shiva. What do you expect at your gut level for this red tsunami to look like? Or is it going to be a red tsunami? Your gut level straight ahead. And boy, I'd love to see you in the U.S. Senate. I would just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, we've got the Inspector General report of the Justice Department going on. We're going to break that down with Doug Hagman. I keep calling it the Attorney General report. No, it's not from the Attorney General. It's from the Inspector General. I'm teleprompter free, so I cattywampus things quite a bit, but people understand that. We don't err on the philosophy and the big ideas and the general info, but we do teleprompter free. Most people just read off a script. I tend to flip things. I guess they claimed I was dyslexic in school. I don't even know that's really real, but I do occasionally scramble things. I think we all do that, though. Does that make us all dyslexic? Dr. Shiva is here with us. Dr. Shiva Idurai. He is running against Pocahontas. That is, of course, Elizabeth the fraud, the fake Indian Warren. And his idea of putting out metal decals, magnetized decals, with whatever the political message, it's perfect, because the left does go after libertarian, conservative, or pro-gun stickers. They pull them off. They key your car. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. And I'd already decided months ago, we've got to go. And it's just so many initiatives, so many things to get done. I'm going to come out with a magnetized stuff to put on your car if you want to trigger people and fight hard. We're going to come out with little ones and big ones. And I'm going to accelerate this as fast as I can. But just great minds think alike. Everybody should go to ShivaForSenate.com and go get the Road Warrior package, where you get 2 of the magnets, and you get 2 bumper stickers for $25.
And a lawn sign.
And a yard sign and 2 small ones, excuse me. By the way, I know what this stuff cost, so your shipping is included in that. It looks like you're pretty much putting that out at cost, because I know what that stuff costs.
And it's all made in America, Alex. Everything is made in the United States. So all of it's going to the people who made it, and it's going to the people who ship it. So the issue here is, why do we need all this money? The other question I got is, why does Elizabeth Warren need a $180,000 salary? And why do all these guys need a pension? Part of one of the things I'm going to do, Alex, when I'm elected, I'm not going to take any of that. You know, any pension you give, that should be put into a trust and given to people who actually need it to send their kids to VOTEC schools. That's what's really needed. These people, when is enough? Elizabeth Warren's got a $10 million home. She got $350K from Harvard. They get a lot of pension. They get great health care. How much is enough for these people? And at the same time, they attack people who actually work hard and make money and build great businesses, right? So they want to have it both ways. They want to appear like they're the fighters for the working people. And on the other hand, they're scumbags who essentially live off of the working people. And that's what we want to expose. And that's what this sign is really about. It's not about race. It's about integrity.
And it's about her being something she's not. She's a fraud.
Exactly.
They make it all about not what you stand for, like Martin Luther King said, but what group you're with. And then she's not even with the group she says. She's a liar.
Exactly. Supports Monsanto, right? She talks about helping people. She supported the company that poisons all of our kids. Here's a person who supported the Monsanto Protection Act. You know, The Guardian just had a great article exposing how the FDA hid emails which fundamentally show that, you know, glyphosate was getting into all of our food.
And so it's causing massive cancers, and you've been a trailblazer on that. I couldn't think of a better Senate candidate anywhere, my friend. You'd be better than almost all the other Republican senators. You'd be a new Rand Paul, but and I don't want to say even smarter, but I mean, when it comes to science and stuff, you are, I'm interviewing you a lot, knowing your work. I mean, I think you're probably smarter than Rand Paul, and that's saying a lot. He is a real policy wonk and a patriot. Your quick prediction, I'm going to move to the next guest, my friend. Sheba, of course, running for U.S. Senate, Dr. Sheba. What do you think this wave's going to look like? Blue wave, red wave?
What I'm trying to say is we're at a very interesting inflection point in American history, world history. It's what the individual does, Alex. There is no prediction here. It's so much chaos is being created.
Exactly. They're trying to tell us we're going to lose, just like they said Trump would lose. It's all a fraud. The truth is there's a giant red wave coming.
Exactly. There's a red wave, and more importantly, what each one of us does can make a difference. That's what the opportunity is.
All right. Thank you. God bless.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
And again, whether he wins, loses, or draws, he wins by being all over TV, all over radio, educating people. Now, taking over in this hour is Doug Hagman, law enforcement trainer, well-respected author, researcher, really smart guy, HagmanReport.com. And he joins us here. I want to get into the AG report. He's going to take over here in about 3-4 minutes. But I wanted to just bring this up because he doesn't want to get into it on air, but he's been sued by Clinton Foundation connected folks. And it's the same thing. I mean, it is the Clinton law firms, her lawyers, her people on the West Coast and East Coast doing this. And, you know, I want to say it's comical, you know, when the famous Garagos law firm sues me for telepathically trying to gay groom an employee that was here 14 years who says in the EEOC report, because he didn't want to get in trouble and say something that isn't true, he said, I never said anything gay to him, but he felt that I was doing it. Now, folks, I'm not a gray alien from Mars that can telepathically, and I'm nothing against folks, gay people, okay? But that's not my cup of tea, okay? So this is what I'm talking about, folks. This is the level. People say, well, big deal if it's not true. Just, you got to get lawyers. You got to fight it. We're doing that. I mean, these people are serious. So listen, I need people to go to InfoWarsStore.com, and you need the X2. You need the Brain Force. You need Super Male Vitality. You need these products. You need the new Red Pill Plus. We've never had this many products 50% off, but I've looked at the numbers. It's a win-win for everybody. But when we do these super sales, it gets people off the fence that have never ordered. Then when it goes back to 25% off a regular price, still a great deal, you tend to reorder. So that's how we expand our base of folks buying the products. If you've been on the fence, Biotriselenium, selenium, electrochemical, you got to have it. This is the best form of it out there. Caveman's great. We got Prostagard. These are all super high-quality products. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. Or you can just, there's a donate button, too, up there on the top of the sites. You click support us, and it takes you there. Or you can just make a donation. You get, again, free shipping on a bunch of our items. All orders $50 or more get free shipping. You can make donations. The donations are great because, you know, when I'm selling colloidal silver at $14, I mean, I'm making like $5. And we sell a ton of it, but that doesn't fund an operation like this. The satellites, the computers, the legal, the people. And I pay the crew here. Even in Hollywood now, Discovery Channel, History Channel, used to a camera person, you know, we make $200 grand a year and have a $100,000 camera. I now know all these people. Most of them aren't even paid. They're getting a bunch of credits being promised that they'll get a paying gig down the road. So, I mean, that's how evil Hollywood and these big banks are in their consolidation. We actually are paying our crew. Now, we couldn't have a place, you know, a third as successful we were in like New York or L.A. because they're so expensive. But we're here in Austin, Texas. We're not part of the establishment. We're here breaking away from the system, building the new America, building the future, and delivering on every front. So we need your financial support. I want to thank you all for your support. I'm not saying, hey, get in there and support us. I'm saying thank you for your support. But if you've been somebody on the fence, haven't bought a great product, a water filter system, an air filter, non-GMO LMCs, everything we got's the best. And Doug Hagman, you never even asked for support when you're on the show. You're under attack. You reach millions of people a week. You're very successful. You helped expose the whole child trafficking stuff up front, even before Eric Prince came out. I mean, you're a hero. You don't say that. But how do folks support the Hagman Report? How do people support you so that you can be strong and move forward as well?
Thanks for asking, by the way. HagmanReport.com, that's HagmanReport.com. There's a donate button in there. But most importantly, Alex, I just want to say this. Look, we need to stick together. Infowars, Hagman Report, all of us, we need to stick together. You're under attack like never before. And you know something? It's very tenuous today. You go away, we all go away. It's just that simple. I'm a big proponent of unification to fight the globalists. Stop the infighting. Let's stick together and let's make a difference. You know, look, I'm out of pocket 50 grand in legal fees. I can only imagine what yours are. Having seen you
20 lawsuits in the last year.
Exactly. So, you know, people don't get the fact that you exist through your store and donations. I exist through donations and, of course, support. People need to support us, or we're going to go away and end the story. So, if they want the truth, stand behind Alex Jones, stand behind Infowars, stand behind the Hagman Report, and thank you for allowing me to mention that. Oh, I want you to mention it, and of course your book as well, and all the work you're doing at HagmanReport.com. I'm going to get out of here so you can host the next 3 segments. We're really going to be riveted with that information with Doug Hagman, and then more of the breakdown on the AG report straight ahead. What I get from it is a whitewash in the rhetoric, saying, oh, he didn't do anything wrong, but then admitting all the criminality. It's just how they were going to, quote, keep Trump from being elected. I mean, this is bombshell. We'll get Doug Hagman's expert take on the other side. Newswars.com, prisonplanet.com. Spread those links, please. Well, CNN says they're our friends. They love America. Trump's a liar, they say. They're all been caught on tape hating flyover country, hating America. They're the globalists. They've been hired because they are the collaborators. They are the mercenaries. Here's a little piece breaking that down.
A lot of his supporters believe that we are the enemy of the American people, and that is really, really an awful situation. We are not the enemy of the American people. We love the American people. We are not the enemy of the American people. We love the American people. We love the American people. We love the American people.
They came in peace.
We are not the enemy of the American people. We love the American people.
This is CNN.
Oh.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
You know, I just felt like I walked up to the star cheerleader when I was a freshman in high school and asked the senior cheerleader out on a date. She said yes. So those little feelings of ecstasy when your brain releases a little bit of endorphin. I hadn't seen that promo piece that I had the idea for this morning, but the guys did a great job putting it together. And I just had a brain orgasm. I mean, I'm not kidding. Excuse me. Oh, my gosh. Oh, look at this. Viva la Resistance. Mueller team attorney sent anti-Trump text as we go through the 500 pages. This is dailycaller.com. It's up on Infowars.com. Let's punch up drudgereport.com. I was going to leave, but I'm just here taking over. I want to do a whole show with Hagman soon. He's going to be working with us. Hagman's awesome. I want to hear his breakdown on this and his law enforcement sources that are amazing. But you've got this. You've got Strzok saying, we'll stop Trump. He'll never be elected. I mean, this is just getting more and more insane. And as Trump succeeds, showing they were artificially suppressing things. I'd love to say Trump was like, the second coming or whatever. But the truth is, Trump's just not out to get us. And he's got courage and stamina and is smart. But he's removing the artificial criminality where they want to make us poor. That's the essence of globalism. And now we have CNN, MSNBC, Netflix, news shows, Bill Maher, HBO, saying we want to implode the economy. We want nuclear war to stop Trump. They've entered cuckoo land. Doug Hagman, I'm done. You take over of HagmanReport.com, my friend.
Hey, thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. What you were just referencing there, by the way, the messages that were expunged, the page struck messages, it was a reference to an exchange that took place on August 8th, 2016, between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. And basically, here's what happened. The Inspector General found messages that were expunged and, of course, reported up on these messages to the Department of Justice, actually the Office of the Deputy Attorney General, just last month. And what was expunged or taken out of that exchange of August 8th, 2016, of these two FBI swamp creatures, again, Strzok and Page, was the exchange. And I'm looking at my notes here. Lisa's Page saying he's not going to become president. No, we're going to stop him. No, we're going to stop him, is what was erased from the messages that were given. And
doesn't that create the criminal intent that they are erasing evidence of them in their official capacity, saying we're politically not going to let him get elected using our official capacity? I mean, that is criminal civil rights violations. Every citizen that's a voter has been attempted to be disenfranchised. This is huge.
Well, yeah, exactly. It does show criminal intent. Now, you've got to prove on a legal basis criminal intent. But certainly that, to me, is prima facie evidence of legal intent, or of the legal definition of intent, if I've ever seen it. I'm not an attorney, but working with attorneys, you can see that there's a plan going on that we're going to
develop a fake plan to stop him from getting elected in our official capacity, and then we're going to erase it later.
Exactly. And people have got to understand, too, that this does not, that exchange was removed, not from the technical error that they supposedly had between December of 2015 or December 15, 2016.
Oh, I'd forgotten the error. And then of course, it wasn't an error.
No, yeah.
Which is another crime, the FBI lying and saying it had all been removed by error when it wasn't, which is a more fraud.
Oh, yeah, precisely. So where are these text messages? I guess you could go down to the NSA and grab a copy if you really need to. But the bottom line, first of all, you got two issues. You got the December 15, 2016 issue through May 17, 2017, coincidentally the day that Mueller was appointed special counsel, that are missing. But outside of that, the expungement or the extraction of that one sentence that does prove criminal intent, in my view, that should be used as the basis of criminal prosecution. Again, in my view, not being a lawyer.
Continue. Wild horses can't drag me away. And we're just going through this. And when you come back, you'll get more into it. But do you agree with me? And I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I've looked at people that did analysis. I've scanned over it, that the tone is real. Oh, no one's criminal, but there was intent to throw the election. They did try to hide things. It's like they're putting out the breadcrumbs and saying this is illegal, but not saying it because that's not their place.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Here is the report right now. I had my staff, in fact, here's half of it. The other half still on the printer. It's the report.
500 pages.
Yeah, it's 499 of content. The rest is appendices and attachments. Conciliatory, I suppose, would be a good word to describe it. I haven't gone through the whole thing. Listening to, of course, the various talkers out there saying, well, you know what?
But it's backhanded. It's scanning what I've scanned. Yeah. It's like, oh, they did anything criminal, but they did try to fix the election and did lie and did not follow Bureau and did make us look bad and our piece of filth.
Exactly, but here's the thing: you could probably toss this into a washing machine, and depending on who gets the laundry out of that washing machine, you know, from the spin cycle, you can spin it however. Now, there's some pretty damning. I think the most damning part, just from what I was able to see, just really quickly here, looks like the. And we could talk about this at some point, but it looks like the most damning part appears to be the delay. And this is where you and I spoke about this, the delay between the finding the emails, classified emails, with respect to the, my goodness, the Huma Abedin emails. And this
goes back to why the FBI was punting back and forth and reopening the investigation. So you'll have time when you come back, and I'm going to leave now. I'll be watching while I have lunch. You're going to break all this down. But it looks to me like they're putting the facts in there. They don't want to make political statements or statements of judgment, so they're punting. But there still is some kind of obfuscation, just because it's just, the same agency investigating itself. You think that's accurate?
Right. Yeah, I think so. Now, no criminal referrals yet, but we'll see.
Well, I heard, we'll see what your sources say, that they've got working indictments ready to go to grand jury. So we'll hear about that straight ahead with Doug Hagman of the Hagman Report. I'm Alex Jones, newswars.com, newswars.com. Spread those links. HagmanReport.com. Spread that link.
Infowars.com. Doug Hagman sitting in for Alex Jones. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure to be hosting Doug Hagman again for Infowars, my website, HagmanReport.com. And right now, it's a historic day. Aside from being day 511 of the Donald Trump presidency, it is also Donald Trump's birthday. It's Flag Day, and it's the day of the much-awaited OIG report. Here it is right here. It's been released. It's 568 pages with attachments and appendices, 499 pages of content, and I have not read through the report. So why would I even be talking about the report? Obviously, it just came out prior to airtime. There's been a lot of leaks with respect to the report, but the report itself just came out before I came on, a little bit before I came on. But it's a product of an 18-month investigation by the Inspector General, a review of the FBI, DOJ, the investigation of the Hillary Clinton email, this particular inquiry, this investigative work product is specifically looking into whether the FBI, whether the Department of Justice was corrupted by the political influence in their determination of the Clinton outcome. End of story. The IG report provides background on the overall issues, the potential crimes, the subsequent cover-up, and the corruption that infested the 2016 Department of Justice and the FBI. Now, you're going to have a lot of people out there attempting to spin this in every different direction, rip it apart, saying, it's nothing. They're going to call it a nothing burger, of course. They're going to say, well, it's not rooted in political bias. But here's the bottom line. You've got a lot of top-level officials, political officials, government officials, and even some within the rank and file, like, well, if you would consider Stroker Page a rank and file, within the government doing a lot of breaking of laws, potential Hatch Act violations, and other such problems. Here's, I think, what we need to ask ourselves. Is this just merely only about politics? Is this what we're looking at here? Did Comey, did Brennan, did Lynch, did all of these individuals, Strzok and Page, as you see there, did they do this? And I've talked about this before. Did they risk their jobs, but more importantly, their freedom, that being the freedom, their freedom from jail or from indictments for seditious or potentially treasonous activity? Did they risk it simply for Hillary Clinton to get Hillary Clinton into office? Now think about that question before you say, oh yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, they love Hillary Clinton and they hated Donald Trump that much. Think about it. Did they do this only for political purposes? And I would venture to say no. There is an ideology behind this, an ideology of this communist utopia that is propelling this, the ideology of this Marxist, the Stalinist, Leninist, whatever you'd want to call it. But it is that ideology, in my view, that is responsible for their activities. It's much bigger than politics. So this weekend, when you're lounging by the pool, doing some casual reading of the OIG report, I'm sure you will be, right? Turning the pages, printing it out, or I guess on your electronic device. Think about what you're reading and think about the bigger issue, the deeper issue. Dig deeper, think bigger about what we're looking at, because we can all take this and segment the various granular details, and I believe we need to do that. But what's really taking place in terms of the larger picture, and that's what I really want to say. And when I was talking to Alex, and I just want to drive this point home. It's interesting that suddenly those people who have taken the Inspector General to task, Michael Horowitz, saying that he's an Obama plant, yes, and Paul Sperry had some interesting information that he posted on his Twitter account, investigator Paul Sperry, investigative reporter, about the relationships with Michael Horowitz. But think about this: it was Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, who in fact pointed out that last month that a reply by Peter Strzok to Lisa Page was omitted from the text messages that were sent to Congress. Well, in my view, there is some integrity there, and I think that does show the integrity of Horowitz at this point. Now, opinions are like, you know what, right? So, analyses without reading the report would really not do you or anyone else any favors, but you can see just from the reactions. Right now I'm looking at reactions of the talkers. I'm looking at reactions of the people such as Maddow and Matthews and or Limbaugh on the right. I'm looking at their reactions to assess what their take is for the purposes of advancing the narrative. What's their narrative, whether it's on the right or on the left? And I'm doing that without having read the report, again, because the report just came out. So the reason I mention that is it's important, in my view. It is extremely important to understand that news as it stands today is nothing but a running agenda. In other words, everyone's got an agenda, whether it's on the right or on the left, conservative or democratic socialist. So it's up to you, the listener, the viewer of this show, to make up your own mind based on what you read. And I would suggest everyone listening, if you're listening or reviewing this broadcast, do yourself a favor, download the report. The link is, you can find it everywhere. But remember, this is just one of this is one of at least 3 such reports that are forthcoming. And from what I've read, it is kind of damning in terms of the intent, whether or not this results in criminal indictments. By the way, the other aspect of this, I've noticed people saying, well, I don't see any criminal referrals based on this report. You're not going to find criminal referrals. That's not the purpose of this report. This report does not make criminal referrals. However, when this report is given to the Department of Justice, the executive branch, to be more precise, that includes Donald Trump, it is from there that the criminal indictments or criminal referrals, more specifically, will be made. So if you were looking at this and expecting to see, well, we recommend the criminal prosecution, that's not what the Inspector General does, at least not as a rule. I just want to say that the criminal referrals must come and would come from the Department of Justice or the executive branch. So just keep that in mind as you read this, and don't let people tear you down or tear down your positive thoughts that we could see justice because there's the absence of recommendation for criminal referrals. I did not expect to see any. All right, so that's something totally different. Folks, visit InfoWarsStore.com. I want to mention this because Alex and I were talking during the break and after and during the show. Look, we are under fire. The censorship issue is so incredible. It's so financially oppressive. Please support Infowars. Go to InfoWarsStore.com. I don't care what product. All of the products are great. But look, they've got Brain Force. They've got Super Male Vitality. They've got just a number of the iodine. My goodness. Top quality products. Support Infowars. As you support Infowars, you're supporting this program, the mission. You know this. So do it now. Do it now. Just go and get yourself healthy, physically fit, and support free speech at the same time, because we are all under attack. Folks, you're listening to Infowars on this very special, very historic day, June 11th, or June 14th, 2018, day number 511 of the Donald Trump presidency. Under attack for 378 days by special counsel. And, of course, Donald Trump's birthday. Stay with us. You're listening to Infowars. Doug Hagman, we're right back. You're listening to Infowars. Doug Hagman sitting in for Alex Jones. Doug Hagman, HagmanReport.com. That's my home base. Infowars, Infowars.com. That's where you need to go. Infowars Store to support this operation. Very proud to be sitting in for Alex. I got to tell you, look, we're going to be talking about the OIG report at some point. Okay, it's 499 pages of content, total of 568 pages with attachments and appendices. So it's going to take some time to go through. It just broke today, just a couple of hours ago. Leaks, and it's important, leaks, of course, were just incredible earlier today. It's interesting how Bloomberg reported on leaks and the spinning of leaks, but we're going to be taking this apart page by page, word by word, basically, and making sense of it. Remember, this is just one small aspect. And remember, this is about the least the most scandal-free presidency of our lifetimes, and that is Barack Hussein Obama. This I want to lead off with real quick here. We got so much news, so little time. Sally Yates, the Department of Justice, ordered the FBI not to overtly investigate the Clinton Foundation. Folks, Charles Ertel, he's a great researcher talking about the Clinton Foundation. But think about this. The Deputy Attorney General fired by President Donald Trump hamstrung federal investigators' efforts to probe the Clinton Foundation. You're going to be hearing more about this as Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates revealed the Department of Justice instructed federal investigators to hold back to opening a probe of the Clinton Foundation. And aren't we seeing the Clinton Foundation, the incestuous relationships of the Clinton Foundation everywhere? Seems like every time I bump into a lawsuit, somebody's associated with the Clinton Foundation. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right, moving on here. I want to get this because I know Infowars spoke about this, and yeah, the coverage by Infowars. If you're not listening to Infowars and watching Infowars, you're missing out. But I wanted to touch on this some more. How about this? Imran Awan. Remember him? Remember the Awan brothers? Why did we stop talking about that in the community? Of course, we didn't, of course, but maybe you might ask Jim Acosta or one of his comrades, or did I say comrades? One of his associates about the Awan brothers. What I'm referring to is Imran Awan and the Awan family, working for the Democrats in the House of Representatives for almost 13 years, making nearly $6 to $7 million. And of course, allegedly having a, not just involved in a procurement scam, but also apparently, in my view, in my professional opinion, operating a breach of the servers that perhaps, again, in my opinion, could have resulted in the transfer of classified information to Pakistan. But now we've got this. Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? reported by Zero Hedge and others. In fact, this was initially done through some videography and investigative reporting by Crowdsource The Truth, Jason Goodman, investigative journalist. Why does Imran Awan work at his Clinton-linked attorney's law firm? Did you hear that? Did you know that Imran Awan is working at his Clinton-linked attorney's law firm? A stunning video by investigative journalist Jason Goodman of Crowdsource The Truth revealed that Pakistani IT worker Imran Awan is reportedly answering the phones. That's right, at the office of attorney Chris Gowan. And who is Chris Gowan? Gowan is a founding partner of Gowan, Rhodes, Winograd, and Silva, with offices in D.C. and all over the planet. Well, D.C. and Philadelphia, their planet anyway. Now, it's interesting because is this even ethical? Is this even? Am I reading this right? He also served as. By the way. Chris Gowan's official bio on the firm's website notes that he left the public defender's office to work for former President William Clinton and then Senator Hillary Clinton. There's Clinton again. Chris was a fact checker for President Clinton's memoir, My Life. He also served as a traveling aide for President Clinton's national and international trips. But the issue here in the video, and you can see this, you can see Jason Goodman walking up to the lawyer's office. He can be seen visiting the law offices of Awan's attorney, where he asked to speak with the former House IT staffer. After his request was denied, Goodman said, "Hey, is Imran here?" To which the employee replied, "He is. Why?" And Jason Goodman said, "Because it sounds like he's answering your phones." Which drew the retort, "What's your point?" Well, you want a list of points there, counselor? Is he working for you? Asked Goodman. To which the employee whispers back, "Go away, go away. We don't want you. Go away." Well, I might have embellished that a tad, but it's go away. And of course, there's on Zero Hedge and Crowdsource The Truth, there's a video. But note that the Awan scandal is not really a scandal, it's a crime. It was February 2nd of last year when Imran Awan and his family, his Pakistani family, were barred from the Capitol grounds on the basis of alleged criminal conduct. But yet, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she kept Imran Awan on in a advisory capacity until more recently. All right, so what's the deal with that? And of course, during that period of time, we have that interesting situation where the laptop of Imran Awan or actually the laptop of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and some notes that said attorney-client privilege on it and some other things like Awan's badge and ID card were found in this little cubby. And we've talked about this before, but we need to talk about it more and more. And the reason being is this overlaps into, believe it or not, what you will read from the email scandal. You might ask, wow, wait a minute, how is that? That seems like a stretch. Look, you've got the allegations of hacking by Russia. Bogus, not true. You've got, what you have is the leaks from the DNC. You've got Hillary Clinton operating a homebrewed server in her house. But in addition to that, communicating with the President of the United States, also Weiner and Huma Abedin, which at least 18 classified documents are found on Weiner's laptop. All of this stuff overlaps because all of this is classified information that's being mishandled in a criminal sense, in my view. And again, I couch that for those people who are transcribing this and want to, go the lawsuit route some more. But we are exposing this criminality. We are exposing the overlap between the Awan criminal, in my view, infiltration into the Democratic Senate or the Democratic House of Representatives. We are seeing the overlap of that and the Hillary Clinton email server, the mishandling of classified information, and now, to top it off, you've got Imran Awan, if you can believe it, working for Chris Gowan, allegedly working for Chris Gowan based on the fine work of Jason Goodman, crowdsourced the truth, reported by Zero Hedge and other outlets. Why? Are we going to see justice? Are we going to see justice? Are we going to see anyone held accountable? And as I leave you this Friday, or this Thursday, I'm sorry, I'm getting the day ahead. As I leave you this Thursday, I'm going to ask a better question. What happens if we don't? What happens if we don't see justice? What happens if we don't see perp walks? What happens if we don't see people held to account? Will we see mass riots on the streets? Will the conservatives raise up and finally say we've had enough? I leave you with that question. I think that we're reaching a time. I think we're reaching a point in our history where there will be a Lexington moment. There will be a moment, a flashpoint. And folks, when that flashpoint hits, all I can say is, may God help us all, and may God save our nation. I'm Doug Hagman, sitting in for Alex Jones. I want to thank you for listening, for for having me back. Appreciate it. HagmanReport.com, Infowars.com. God bless.